Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we had a busy week 4. We had a lot happening. We have some injuries to talk about, but great news is Jonathan Taylor is going to be back practicing Wednesday. I believe we don't have any Cooper Kupp news as of now. Let me go ahead and just pull up to double check. But as I do this, let me remind you, go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And you know we will be live streaming every single day until 2024. I don't think we've missed a single day since, April? I mean, we've got 157 days in a row at this point. But yeah, if we're looking at this, you have Jonathan Taylor back at practice on Wednesday. You have Kyle Phillips, blah, 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 who the hell cares. We have Curtis Samuel not practicing today. Outside of that, Joe Burrow will be starting in week 5 still. Jonathan Taylor is not ruled out for playing in week 5. T. Higgins is hopeful to play in week 5, which is a little bit of a surprise. I figured we were going to have no Higgins for a little longer than that. And then Desmond Ridder is going to remain the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Probably shouldn't do it. Probably should instead throw someone else out there, but it is what it is. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. Really, really do appreciate you. Excited to go through and hop into some of these questions. Now, Rocky and the Rockies coming out saying, looking to trade for Anthony Richardson. My man, it's going to be a tough thing to do because now everybody wants Anthony Richardson, as they should. You're saying we have Burrow, who I would obviously rather have Richardson over at this point. We have Bijan, David Montgomery, Devon Achane, or Achan. I apologize. We're going to have to get used to that, ladies and gentlemen. Khalil Herbert, Kareem Hunt, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ridley, Puka, Christian Watson. If you really wanted to go through and see if you can make a deal for Anthony Richardson, I know this is probably not going to get it done. I'm not a fool. I understand that. The Anthony Richardson owner probably wants to hold on to him. But maybe the Anthony Richardson owner in your league also has Jalen Hurts. Maybe also has Josh Allen. And if you wanted to go ahead and send them like Khalil Herbert and Joe Burrow to go try to get Anthony Richardson in a 4-point passing touchdown format, if we could do that, I would. Keep in mind, Richardson's going to be more appealing for Burrow in a multitude of different ways, but especially in a 4-point passing touchdown league where we want to kind of incentivize rushing upside with our quarterbacks. But Thomas says we traded Jahmyr Gibbs for Aaron Jones in a 10-team PPR format. What are your thoughts? I mean, at least in the short term, for sure looks good. Long term, I do expect that Jahmyr Gibbs continues to expand his role in this Detroit Lions offense. Obviously, Aaron Jones wasn't great on Thursday either, but Aaron Jones coming back, I mean, this was someone that was playing on a snap count. Now, Debrov coming out says, 12-team PPR double flex. We have Richardson, Lawrence, Amari, Chase, Keenan, Jacobs, Cook, Kamara, Kyron, Waller, Ferguson. Any moves? Your advice helped me buy low on Jacobs. Thank you. No, thank you so much, my man. And yeah, I think it's a great team. Full PPR format, completely fine holding on to someone like Kamara. We have some solid running back depth. I mean, obviously, wide receiver looks tough for the time being with the Burrow injury negatively impacting what we have with Jamar Chase, with the Deshaun Watson injury giving Amari Cooper a big old goose egg this past week. Going forward, I think it's a very well-balanced team where I don't think that we need to be making too many moves here. If I'm going to be honest, I think we probably just want to wait until hopefully we get a spike from Trevor Lawrence. And then at that point, if we could send Trevor Lawrence and maybe like James Cook to go get a stud running back in return, we would. But in reality, we're probably going to have to be waiting because I don't see anybody excited to trade for Lawrence at the moment. Sean says trade away Diggs and Saquon for Tyreek and Bijan. I think we'd be upgrading from Diggs to Tyreek, despite what Diggs did this past week. And I think we'd be upgrading from Saquon to Bijan Robinson. So for sure, I'm going to go Bijan Robinson. Hogamorn's my man. The Cargarzar says double flex got offered to Mostert and Ridley for Romeo Dobbs and Drake London. I would way rather have Mostert and Ridley over Dobbs and London. That is 100% a fleece. I think the other owner thinks Mostert and Ridley, their time is up. I mean, obviously, both players are trending in the wrong direction. Calvin Ridley has seen fewer and fewer targets every single week so far this season. Mostert obviously is now falling behind Devon Achane. At the same time, you have Jeff Wilson Jr. coming out soon. So I agree. Probably should be a little bit concerned about what we have with these two veterans. But, I mean, it's not like Drake London is someone we're excited about to start in freaking Atlanta. Are we? I think we make the deal. Now, JC Jacinto says, double flex format. Love Burrow, Pollard, Gibbs, JT, Moss, Hill, Ridley, Olave, AJ Brown, Watson, Dell, Nico, Laporta. Should we trade Ridley, Burrow, Nico for Patrick Mahomes and Zay Flowers? So at this point of the day, we have to say we would rather have Nico Collins over Zay Flowers, Calvin Ridley and Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Probably give me Patrick Mahomes. I think it is a very fair deal, and it is up to you, my friend. If it was a single flex league, I'd say it's a no-brainer. Let's go out there and let's get Patrick Mahomes. Double flex format, I'm a little bit less willing to go out there and sell that kind of depth. Now, let's find our next question. This one coming out from Freddie says, 4-0 thanks to you. No, my man. 4-0 thanks to yourself. Congrats, my man. But still need a running back with Gibbs giving me nothing. Is Aaron Jones worth targeting? If so, what price should we be paying? I would say on a 4-0 roster, this is where I'm going to be a little bit more willing to say, oh, okay, well, yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs doing nothing at this moment, but he could expand his role in the long term. He could be better down the road. So maybe we're a little more inclined to hold on to him, assuming it's a full PPR format. If you wanted to go through and sell, say, Jahmyr Gibbs for Aaron Jones, I wouldn't fault you at all. We actually saw someone do that earlier in this live stream. I'd say that's probably a no-brainer deal to make if you win. I mean, if you need a win now, because you're in a specific scenario where that's not your case, where you are 4-0, we can't be thinking long-term. It's not something we have to do, but something that we can think about doing. Okay. So now our next question coming out from Asleep Pods, who says, Stroud or Purdy? We're going to be going Stroud. Gibbs or Garrett Wilson to start for week 5. Yeah, we're going to go Stroud. Purdy going up against Dallas. I haven't seen the matchups between Gibbs. Actually, I think Gibbs is going up against Carolina, which is going to be a tough spot. Off the top of my head, I believe you actually have Detroit favored by 9. And then Garrett Wilson, who does he play? I think he plays Denver, which is kind of whatever of a matchup. I mean, we would love to target that offense. I'd probably go Garrett Wilson. I want to say, you're asking me this on Monday, so please give me some time to go through and look a little bit further into these matchups and possibly change my mind. But I think for now that we would be fine saying that we want to go ahead and take a Garrett Wilson. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button. We are closing in on 100 likes on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 if you play Underdog Fantasy, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings. And on top of it, ladies and gentlemen, if you sign up before the game today, you will get a Geno Smith special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. After the game today, you will get a Justin Fields special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. Thursday night, depends on when you sign up. But go take advantage of that Geno Smith special ASAP. Now, Bungee Cord coming out saying, 10-team, happy BR, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, gonna be 3-1. We have Allen, Stevenson, Walker, Kelly, Justice Hill, AJ Brown, Debo, Flowers, Puka, Dobbs, Dell, Johnson, Chark, Wandale, and Goddard. Need some help at running back with buys coming up. Any suggestions? I mean, I think that in general, my man, you are in a format that you are able to build around wide receiver, and it's not going to be as important to just prioritize like having a super strong running back too. I mean, if you can start 5 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective, you're very comfortable holding on to AJ Brown, Debo Samuel, Puka, Flowers, Dobbs, Dell, Johnson. I mean, these guys actually can make a difference. Now, I will say we're probably going a little bit overboard on the depth, especially because this is going to be a 10-team league. So what I personally would look to do, instead of making any trades here, which I understand, yes, we do need running back, I think we just try to optimize the amount of roster spots we are spending on each individual position, and instead most likely look to go through and cut Wandale Robinson, cut DJ Chark, pick up additional running backs off the waiver wire. That way, hopefully, we can be the next person to find, the next Kyron Williams, the next Zach Moss, right? So I think that's the move that we're looking to make, specifically in a league where you start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes. I don't think you need to go out of your way and trade for a running back, though. Now, HNT says 18 BBR format. Swift, Lamb for Kyron and Ridley. Was this a good move? Lamb to Ridley, massive downgrade. Swift to Kyron Williams, probably a lateral move. Other receivers are DK, Cup, Waddle, Lockett. I would go ahead. I'd keep the best player in this deal, which I still believe is CeeDee Lamb, my friend. Love is in the air says just traded Stevenson and the Jets defense for Aaron Jones. Hell yes, this is a no-brainer. I mean, with Stevenson, I don't really have the same hope that we would Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Gibbs, we can at least say, okay, he's only been in the NFL for a month. We're going to assume that he continues to get better as his career goes on. No, Ramondre has been laughably inefficient. It's been one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL, only in front of Cincinnati in total scoring this year. So, great move. Really like to see it, my friend. Dang shoot, happy to see my man says 10-team dynasty, 1 QB. We have Komet and Njoku. Should we pick up Cade Otton to replace one of them? I'd say no. I understand Cade Otton a little bit of a younger tight end, but typically tight end's going to be that old man's game where I am completely fine going through and like punting those guys that are maybe on the up and up, even though Cade Otton definitely someone we should add to the watch list. Peter, welcome to being a member of the flock, my man, even though I know you have been a member of the flock for quite some time now. Jamie says, is this a good trade? Devonta Smith, Nico Collins, and Jake Ferguson for Stephon Diggs and Devon Achane in a single flex format. Nico Collins versus Devon Achane, honestly, going to be up to you and your overall team construction. If I'm going to be looking at Devonta Smith and Jake Ferguson, who's like a tight end that I definitely think you need a roster, but kind of a borderline waiver wire option, I would way rather have Stephon Diggs. So I think it is a good trade, but obviously Nico Collins looks like a locked and loaded top 20 wide receiver rest of season. Now, Dewey coming out says, looking to send Puka and Stevenson. We need a running back. Any ideas? First, don't know, but been eating up your fantasy content for years. You're a staple in fantasy. Really, really appreciate you, my man. I mean, the list of running backs that'd be willing to sell, say, Puka and Ramondre for is getting shorter by the day with how damn good Puka looks. Obviously, I would include CMC, Bijan, Pollard on that list. In reality, you probably have no shot at getting any of those guys. And if we were going to go a little bit further down, I think you're going to be looking at like Austin Eckler, or if you're not looking at an Austin Eckler, maybe instead you want to go to a Saquon Barkley, right? Maybe one of these stud running backs that are dealing with injuries right now that you still believe in the long-term upside with. But overall, clearly if we are selling Puka, who's been way better than I ever imagined, you need to make sure that that other owner is overpaying. Now, John coming out says, a full BBR 10 team, a 1-3. Running back, we have Bijan, Swift, Brees, Rachaad White, Devon Achane. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Ridley, A.J. Brown, Addison, JSN, Nico Collins. Tight end, we have Kittle. Quarterback, we have Burrow and Stroud. Any advice? Start Stroud for the time being. I still think Burrow is someone that we want to go ahead and roster just in case he does manage to get fully healthy. 1-3, this is also about the time that we really need to focus in on production today and not tomorrow. So if you could go through and maybe take some of these younger rookie wide receivers that we're excited about the long-term upside with, such as Jackson Smith-Njigba, such as Jordan Addison, and go send them with running backs like Rachaad White, like Brees Hall, like Devon Achane, and go get upgrades in the starting lineup immediately. It would be nice to try to front load some of that production when we need it if we're 1-3. Colin says 12-team PPR format, just traded Jalen Hurts and Chris Olave for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Oh, great deal, my man. What's actually really interesting is Patrick Mahomes right now has more rushing yards this season than Jalen Hurts. The team is now Mahomes, Connor, Etienne, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Pittman, Kelce, and he moves. Nope, you already made it. Love to see it. Love to have that Kelce Mahomes stack, my friend. Odier says we have Allen, Bijan, Gibbs, Diggs, Amari, Ingram, Kirk. On the bench, we have Richardson, Brees, Dillon, Gabe Davis, JSN, Palmer, Deontay. 4-0, we got offered Ridley, Waddle, and Olave for Stephon Diggs. Do we take this? Typically, I'm saying let's always keep the best player. Typically, I'm saying, oh, Stephon Diggs is a round one talent. You need to hold on to. This is a very intriguing deal, to be honest with you. If you're going to sell Diggs for 3 wide receivers who have a ceiling of a wide receiver 1, even if all 3 of them obviously really struggled this week, I would be fine going ahead and making this move. Quick side note as well, with Anthony Richardson turning into an elite fantasy quarterback, would be interesting to see if we could get some value out of either Anthony Richardson or Josh Allen through trade. Now, Davion coming out says, what do you expect from JT his first game back? I don't know exactly what we can expect. Obviously, with Jonathan Taylor, so running back that we don't know if he will be playing this week. But if he is playing this week, I will have him locked and loaded as a must-start running back. I don't think he's the running back 1 by any means overall, but I think that he can be a running back 1 in fantasy. Squeaky Cling says 14-team PBR 3-1. We have Watson was dropped in my league. Is he worth the stash to trade later? We already have Herbert as my quarterback, and we're streaming Sam Howell this week. In a 14-team format, for sure. 14-team format where that roster spot's going to matter a little bit less because options off the waiver wire typically are going to be worth a little bit more. I hate rostering 3 QBs, which obviously we'll have to do for this week and this week alone. But then afterwards, we cut Sam out, and I think we are good to go. So yes, 14-team league, I think so. J-Rex says, should we trade Zay Flowers for Sam Laporta? I mean, if you need a tight end, go for it. I mean, obviously, Laporta is out there crushing. Don't really think that Jameson Williams negatively impacts him. I think, if anything, it's positive if he can stretch defenses. Austin says, 4-0, Mason, thanks a lot. Happy for you, my man. We have Richardson, Swift, Barkley, Diggs, Olave, Smith, Waller. When everybody is healthy, should I target anybody right now? Also, we have Adam Thielen and Jerry Jeudy on the bench. I mean, I would actually say probably not. You're in a good spot with Anthony Richardson breaking out as that elite level quarterback. We have wide receivers with upside. We're really just waiting for Saquon Barkley to get fully healthy. I mean, obviously, if you could go through and send like Adam Thielen and Darren Waller and go get TJ Hawkinson, then sure, we're going to do it. In reality, I doubt that you can. I mean, if you can do it, do it. I just doubt that trade's going to be available to you. Okay. So now our next question coming out from, I believe, Christian says 3-1, survive the Allen Diggs stack, won 172 to 171. That is awesome, my man. We have Hurts, CMC, Jacobs, Smith. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure in the early games, you thought you were toast when they dropped, I mean, those 3 touchdowns on you. Smith, Puka, Moss, Laporta on the bench. We have Ingram, McLaurin, Amari, Achane, Flock on. Great team. I mean, if you could go through and maybe send one of these depth pieces in a single flex format, go send someone like, I don't know, Amari Cooper with Sam Laporta, or Devon Achane and Sam Laporta, or Terry McLaurin and Sam Laporta, and get a true elite level tight end. I think that would be very interesting, but great team. Clearly, there's a reason we're 3-1. But real quick, we are going to skip ahead of this. I mean, whenever someone's a member of the channel, if it does like the 1 month, 2 month thing, it's not going to pop up on my other page. So I need to make sure we answer it immediately. Solid Jakey coming out says, traded Brees for Garrett Wilson last night. Like what I saw, not going to lie. Maybe I'm a bit too optimistic. We have Bijan, Gibbs, and Devon Achane. So Brees did have 6 carries last night, I believe. So obviously the volume wasn't necessarily there. In my mind, you're really just going and you're saying, okay, yeah, Zach Wilson looked better, but if Zach Wilson looks better, you do get the benefit coming from Brees Hall as well. So it really is up to you fundamentally, my man, with the team that you have and with the way that you want to take it. But nonetheless, you are still taking on the Zach Wilson risk when you trade one jet for another. And I do want to be on record saying that while Zach Wilson had the best game of his NFL career this week, Zach Wilson is still a bad quarterback. Quinn coming out says 12-team BBR with 1 flex. We have Herbert on bye and desperate for tight end production. Who's droppable between Purdy and Jake Ferguson? We need for these guys. Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Warren, Josh Downs, Elijah Moore, Luke Musgrave, and Dallas Goedert. I mean, definitely we're not going to want to go through and roster 3 tight ends, so we have to drop one of these tight ends. I would rather drop Luke Musgrave than drop Dallas Goedert, so drop Musgrave, especially with them dealing with the concussion. And also you have Watson and Aaron Jones coming back, so I think the volume is going to go down regardless. And then for our backup quarterback, I think we're most likely going to be looking at Josh Downs. With Downs, really excited about him. I really hope that he continues to expand his role in this offense. I drafted him in a lot of best ball teams. But in reality, a passing offense, it's not going to have a ton of volume. And the volume primarily will be funneled to Michael Pittman. Now, James says 12-team BBR 1 flex 4-0. We have Mahomes, Gibbs, Brian Robinson, Chase, Ayuk, Hugginson, DJ Moore, Christian Watson, London, Warren, Roshan. We got offered Jacobs for Brandon Ayuk. We're on the fence. What do you think? I think you have to go ahead in a full BBR format. You have to take Josh Jacobs here, my man. I don't even think it's remotely close. I don't care what the team looks like. I understand that Brandon Ayuk had the blow-up game this week, but Deebo Samuel was injured. Deebo Samuel operating a little bit more as a decoy here. So yeah, go get Josh Jacobs. I mean, Josh Jacobs right now, I believe, is leading the NFL in receiving yards for the running back position. Cal says non-BBR 10-team 6-point rushing and passing touchdown, 3-1. We have Daniel Jones, ETN, Gibbs, Hill, Adams, Laporta, Kirk. On the bench, we have Goff, White, Watson, Wilson, Algier, Frymuth. Nobody wants my players at the moment. Do we sit and pray? I think probably so. I mean, the guys down there on the bench are probably too good to go ahead and move on from. You probably have to just hold on to them if you're not going to get anything through trade. I don't necessarily think we can go through and trade them. Cut them. I would say Gibbs, obviously, is a player that I really do like in a full BBR format, given his usage as a receiver. Non-BBR league, he's never really going to do anything there for you. But yeah, I think you have to sit on your hands and really hope that things turn around soon, my friend. Austin says we have, we're 3-1. It's not that bad. Austin says we have Andrews and Laporta. Better to hold both in case of an injury or use the other as a trade chip. You're going to use Sam Laporta as a trade piece, my friend. We've had so many people in the flock that had the combination of both Mark Andrews and Sam Laporta. We were talking about this all last week, but the easiest thing ever is to view Andrews as a tight end that we're starting every single week, regardless of matchup, and go through, take Sam Laporta and a wide receiver, send him off and go get an elite level receiver. There'll be so many teams that are willing to pay up for a player like Sam Laporta, where keep in mind, you had the Kyle Pitts team in your league, the Dallas Goedert team in your league, the Pat Frymuth team in your league. I'm in the team with a lot of those players across the leagues that I'm in. So I would be happy to go through and trade for someone like Sam Laporta, and you don't need him on your roster. Some guy named Im coming out says 16 PPR with 3 flex and a super flex. Going to be 1 and 3. We have Goff, Kyron, Etienne, Olave, Chase, Lamb, Kelsey, Mostert, Nico, Prescott. On the bench, we have Kamara, JT, Ramondre, Barkley, Watson. Need help? Do we trade for a quarterback? Yes, I think now that we are getting these running backs back in, if you could send Raheem Mostert and Jared Goff, or send, say, Alvin Kamara and Dak Prescott, essentially just package together one of these deeper running backs with the quarterback and go get a long-term upgrade, I think that would be really nice. Now, with that being said, I understand that we're 1 and 3. It's not as bad as it looks, though. Keep in mind, you had the Travis Kelce injury. You had Alvin Kamara suspended. You had JT, on the IR. You had Saquon Barkley getting injured. You had Christian Watson getting injured. So ultimately, I know that we're 1 and 3, but I think when this team is fully healthy and when this team is at 100%, it's a little bit better than the record indicates. Sean says 12 team PPR 3 and 1. We have Purdy, Gibbs, Mostert, Jefferson, Ridley, Robinson. On the bench, we have Terry, Myers, Tutu, Watson, Quentin Johnson, Charbonnet. 2 trades lined up. Mostert, Gibbs, Ridley, Terry, Watson, Tutu. I will say, as a general rule of thumb, I never like making deals like this. We're trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players for 2. Not that I don't like giving up a package for a stud. I'm just saying we're sending half of our roster, right? We're rostering, 14 guys, and we're trading 6 of them away. But nonetheless, for CMC Ford, pretty damn good price. Looking at Mostert versus Ford rest of season, probably give me Mostert, not too far off. Gibbs, Ridley, Terry, Watson, Tutu. Tutu's meaningless if Kupp comes back. For CMC's the best option in fantasy. Would go CMC. And then, or Mostert, Gibbs, Ridley, Tutu, Ayuk, and Kyron Williams. The second deal would be bad. The second deal would be horrible. If you were going to make one, it's the Christian McCaffrey trade. I'm always very hesitant to go through and trade like all my team for all your team, though, which is essentially what those trades turn into. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. If you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for the games tonight, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And for tonight's game, a special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Geno Smith going up against the Giants. And if you sign up after tonight instead, it would be a Justin Fields special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Commanders on Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. But next question coming out from Ross says, hey Mason, currently 3 and 1, lost to the 0 and 3 team with Montgomery, AJ Puka, Andrews. Yeah, you had no shot there, my man. We have Herbert, Love, Bijan, Pollard. Okay, great running backs. Kamara, we get Kamara back. Hopkins, Judy, Gabe Davis, Pickens, Chark, Frymuth, Henry. 14-team format, double flex. Wide receivers have been killing me. Any suggestions? 14-team format's going to be a little bit of a tougher spot because obviously it's going to be tougher to go through and pick up just a capable wide receiver off the waiver wire. Especially if it's a double flex league, wide receiver depth's going to matter just a little bit more. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily know if we want to be going through and trading away any of these running backs. With this being a full PPR format, I'm still completely fine holding on to Kamara. With Bijan and with Tony Pollard, these guys are crushing it. 14-team format, so we probably do want to be rostering 2 quarterbacks. We probably do want to be rostering 2 tight ends. This is a very, just useless thing to say, and I understand that, and I'm very sorry for that. But if we were going to look to do something here, my friend, we would most likely look to go ahead and just trade maybe DeAndre Hopkins for a different wide receiver. His fantasy points per game have actually been fine this season, but if you look at the underlying volume and the underlying usage, he's actually trending in the wrong direction. So what I probably would look to do is see if we could go through and send DeAndre Hopkins, just go get a wide receiver that we like a little bit more in return. But I understand that's not great advice. I understand that's not going to help you out too much, but you're in a great spot, right? We're 3-1. Maybe you should even be 4-0. Now we get Kamara back in. You're going to be fine going forward. Simon says, have PBR 10-team league with up to 5 wide receivers. We have Jefferson, Ayuk, Wilson, Jameson, Kyron, Walker, Mostert, Khalil, Warren. Tight end is Goddard and Kincaid. Would you do any moves for tight ends? I think depending on the format, yes, I would. If you were playing in a league with, say, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, tight end would make up a very high percentage of your starting lineup output. So in that kind of format, I would go ahead and I would look to see if we can go trade for an upgrade. However, if you're playing in a league where you start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes, then you're probably not going to want to go through and, try to make a trade for a tight end because typically they're going to make up a much smaller percentage of your starting lineup output, and wide receiver depth will be a little more important overall. Nathaniel says 12-team full BBR single flex. I'm 1-3 and I don't know what to do. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Ramondre, Lamb, Chase, Flowers, Waller. On the bench, we have Burrow, Herbert, Charbonnet, Kirk, Dell, Dotson, and Laporta. So if we have Waller and Laporta, I think the easy thing to do with this team is to go approach one of those teams that is really struggling at tight end and go and send them Sam Laporta and Ramondre Stevenson and go get a running back upgrade. Or maybe Sam Laporta, Christian Kirk, go get a stud wide receiver for the flex. Or maybe Sam Laporta and Zay Flowers for that wide receiver, right? But essentially, when you're 1-3, we have to change our mindset from looking long-term and looking from a value lens instead of that. We need to be looking short-term, looking into how we can get production in our starting lineup ASAP so we're not leaving points on the table. So I think you sell Laporta. Of course, we can wait to see how Darren Waller does tonight, though. Frosip says, full BBR, 4-point passing touchdown, double flex league. So I'm assuming maybe single flex. We have Lawrence, Hill, Ridley, Puka, Addison, Palmer, JT, Kyron, Mixon, Swift, Sanders, Charbonnet, Laporta. Should we trade away Lawrence and Ridley for Jalen Hurts or Anthony Richardson? Should we upgrade or hold? So 4-point per passing touchdown. I think that the Jalen Hurts trade is very appealing. I don't think we put Anthony Richardson in the same tier as Jalen Hurts just yet, even though he's getting damn close. But if we could make this swing for Jalen Hurts, I think we probably would do it, especially if I misread this and this is instead, my friend, only a league with 1 flex. But Jared says double flex 12-team format where we have Hurts, James Cook, Montgomery, Chase, Devonta Smith, Frymuth, Gabe Davis. Just lost a 2-2. We lost Mike Williams. We have Anthony Richardson on the bench, and we need help upgrading. So the easy thing in that instance, my man, is let's go through and let's sell Anthony Richardson, and let's try to get a great tight end in return, right? I mean, if the team with TJ Hawkinson right now maybe also has Sam Laporta, and we can send them Anthony Richardson for TJ Hawkinson, or maybe go, you're not going to get Andrews anymore, but maybe go get someone like Darren Waller, depending on how he plays tonight. Just a tight end that we can feel very comfortable about from a week-to-week perspective. I think that'd be interesting. I mean, frankly, whenever we have Jalen Hurts, right, we're starting Jalen Hurts every single week, regardless of matchup. Anthony Richardson, stud quarterback. Let's just try to take some of that value on our bench and put it in the lineup. Arthur says, single flex, 10-team league, 2-2. We have Hurts, JT, Bijan, Swift, Moss, Pacheco, Spears, Jefferson. Oh, great team. We have Goddard, Waller at tight end, specifically because this is a 10-team league with only 1 flex. I wouldn't mind at all if you wanted to take one of these deeper wide receivers or one of these deeper running backs. Take someone like Isaiah Pacheco, who's 100% expanding his role, and Isaiah Pacheco looks a lot more appealing than he did previously. Package him with the tight end, see if we can go get an elite level tight end option. And a 10-team league with only 1 flex, definitely advantageous to have that elite quarterback and tight end pairing. Brock says it is a league with 1 flex, 12-team at PBR. We have Lamar, Lamb, Puka, Henry, Madison, and Njoku, White, Gabe Davis, Addison, Wilson, Kmet, Juju, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Charbonnet. Kmet, Davis, Madison for Chase, Gibbs, and Ingram. Kmet to Evan Ingram, upgrading the long term. Gabe Davis to Jahmyr Gibbs. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Alexander Madison for Jamar Chase. Give me Jamar Chase by a mile, even with the Joe Burrow injury. So hell yeah, we're going to make that deal. I don't even think it's remotely close. Superstar Zebo says, should we trade Chase for Cooper Kupp or Lamb and Gibbs for Kupp? I may or may not be losing my mind, but I think I'm throwing in the towel. Previous to this week, I was saying Kupp's going to come back in. Kupp's going to be the solidified wide receiver 1. It's not going to be close, blah, blah, blah. I don't know at this point, ladies and gentlemen. I think Cooper Kupp comes back in and Puka still has a relatively large role. I think Kupp can't be viewed as like a completely different tier than CeeDee Lamb at this point. Even with the Burrow injury, I mean, Kupp himself dealing with the hamstring. I don't know if we can say we'd rather have Kupp over Chase. If that's the price for Kupp, I'm probably not buying. I'm probably not buying that price. If it's like Devonta Smith for Kupp, then yeah, let's send it. But not Lamb or Chase. Not Lamb plus. Keep in mind, Gibbs still has value. Chris says, 12-team BBR double flex. We have Allen, Montgomery, Pacheco, Gainwell, Tyreek T, Nico, Gabe Davis, Tyler Lockett, and Darren Waller. So great spot to be in. I mean, especially with the Nico Collins breakout. Double flex format, wide receiver depth's going to matter a little bit more. I really don't have anything to say about this team in terms of any trades that we want to be making. I mean, if you potentially wanted to go ahead and see what kind of price point we could get for David Montgomery if it's a full BBR format and we expect Gibbs to expand his role later on in the season. If you can sell Montgomery as like a borderline top 5 to 10 running back, then let's do it. I still think that Montgomery is going to be in a very good spot rest of the season. Obviously, I'm just saying if we get someone to specifically overpay for him in a full PPR league. Dang Shootout again says 12-team Dynasty BBR Superflex Triple Flex. We have Goff, Carr, Pickett, Jones, Jacobs, Dillon, Charbonnet, Mitchell, Jefferson, Ridley, Higgins, Evans, Tutu, Myers, Schultz, Dulcich, 2 future first. We want to trade for picks. What are your thoughts? If you're ready to burn this down, my man, I'm ready to burn this down as well. I mean, seeing the Pickett injury, seeing the Carr injury, it's a super flex format. Right now, we are just rolling with Jared Goff. I would say this probably, and you also have the Higgins injury, you have the Evans injury. I mean, you had Aaron Jones go down earlier in the season. This is one of those teams that looked like a strong contender coming into the year. But I mean, everything's kind of falling apart at once. So in Dynasty, if you wanted to go through and if you were ready to burn it down, then the guys that I view as assets that we should sell to contending teams, that's going to essentially be any player that we believe is not going to increase their Dynasty fantasy football value by this time, say, let's go in July, right? From here to July. Goff, Carr, Jones, Jacobs, Dillon, Ridley, Evans, Schultz, all in the block. Obviously, some of those guys you're going to get a considerable amount for. Some of those guys you would not. If you are sitting at 3-1, if you are sitting at 2-2, I would say we probably don't want to burn it down. We probably want to just hold on to where we're at and see how the next few weeks go. But if we're like 1-3, if we're 0-4, and we have these injuries, then yeah, I think we probably burn it down and play for 2024, my friend. That boy OD says, thoughts on Rachaad White rest of season top 15? 100% top 15 has to be. I mean, the man's getting almost everything in this offense. Bobby says 14-team BBR format. We have Allen, Watson, Hollywood, Pickens. Should we drop London to pick up Jamison Williams or Wan'Dale Robinson off the waiver wire? I would love Wan'Dale Robinson to be better than Drake London this year. We'd win a lot of money on Underdog if Wan'Dale ends up being good. I will say, probably not doing that. If you really wanted to go ahead and drop Drake London for Jamison Williams, I'm not going to fault you for it. 14-team league, though, I would assume that we'd have a worse player to drop. It's a great team. It's a 14-team format. Apiro says 10-team, should we trade Puka for what level wide receiver? What I've been saying previous was I've been saying, let's go out there and let's go get the Chris Olave range. Obviously, it looks so much harder, and I'm done saying to trade away Puka. I'm not going to answer that kind of question. Like, this has been my worst call, literally probably ever playing fantasy football, and I've had some horrendous calls. But Puka just comes in and week out and only gets better. Like I was saying, I initially thought that he was maybe like a low-end wide receiver 2 when Cooper Kupp came back. I don't know if I'm losing my mind. Y'all are beating it out of me, but I think that honestly, maybe at this point, like Puka's like a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2, even when Cooper Kupp comes back. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 likes away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. Less than 10% of y'all have hit that like button. So go down there, drop a like on the stream if you have not done so already. Subscribe if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, links in the live chat, links in the description, link in the comment section. Promo code FLUCK, 100% deposit match up to $500, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Geno Smith special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard going up against the New York Giants tonight. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. But Colton coming out saying 10-team non-BBR format, 2 quarterback, 1 flex. We have Burrow, Love, Etienne, Achane, Olave, Ayuk, Hawkinson, Ford. On the bench, we have Watson, Eckler, Evans, Amari, Hall, Kelly, Roschon, Charbonnet. Need help? I'm 1-3. Appreciate you, Mason. No, appreciate you, my man. I mean, I think we probably need to be doing this for, actually, no, it's too late to do it now. What we should have done last week is in a non-PBR format, if we were sitting here with the losing record, we should have traded away Austin Eckler to get some production in the short term and some production immediately. We still probably look to do something like this. I hate to say it because obviously we are selling at a low price, typically something that we would rather avoid doing. And I do think that Joe Burrow will be better later on in the season. But we are probably going to have to lose some value. We are probably going to have to look back on this trade 2 months from now and go, oh my gosh, I was so stupid to do it. But we need to stay in the game. We need to make sure we don't fall to 1-4, even though 1-4 was the record I won my first fantasy football championship with. I probably sell like Joe Burrow and Breece Hall. Players that have more long-term upside than short-term. And go get a quarterback that we're excited about right now. Let's go get a QB we want now. Steph says 12-team PBR format. We have Hurts, Sanders, Moss, Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Laporta, Zay Flowers at the flex. On the bench, we have Hall, Myers, Jason, Hunt. Should we trade Jamar for someone else? I would say not. I mean, if you are looking at Jamar Chase, it's a wide receiver that you would be selling at a low point. You have a Higgins injury. Yes, I'm very worried about Burrow. Maybe if you're like 0-4, if you're 1-3 and you're saying, Mason, I need production right now, then sure, let's go ahead and do it. But I think we probably actually hold on to Jamar Chase because I think Chase is a talent that could be productive, honestly, regardless of who the quarterback is. Austin says non-BBR only have 3 wide receivers total. Currently have Hill, Buka, Olave. Should I drop Olave for Nico Collins? $800 for the league winner, currently 2-2. My man. Pressure is on, and I mean, I understand Nico Collins has been phenomenal. Nico Collins is top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards so far. And I think Nico Collins is slowly but surely, I mean, pretty much quickly going through and looking like he may be in a similar range to what we have with Chris Olave. Maybe I'm too stubborn. Maybe I'm too much of an idiot, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to still have Chris Olave over Nico Collins. Noah says trade Montgomery and Puka for Saquon and Waddle. Full BBR format, I would do this. Non-BBR league, I may have an issue with it. Misa says we have Goddard and Andrews. Should we trade Andrews for Olave? I personally would. I love Olave. Obviously, Olave just had a very tough week. He did have target volume, though. It was primarily just with the Derek Carr shoulders. I would probably wait to see if we have any reports on Derek Carr before we pull the trigger, my friend. Sammy Sosa says 10-team PBR where we have Fields, Devon Achane, Stevenson, Chase, Amon-Ra, Goddard, Puka, Breece Hall, Javonte Charbonnet, MT, Sutton, Watson. Any trade ideas? We have Ertz and Komet off the waiver wire. If you wanted to go through and drop Goddard for one of those players, it would not fault you at all. I would say as of now, we don't have too many ideas. If you wanted to go through and see if we could sell, say, Justin Fields and MT, Justin Fields and Sutton, Justin Fields and maybe even Christian Watson, if we could go somehow swindle our way into a top 4 quarterback like Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, we do it. I'm assuming we won't be able to, but maybe you have one of those crazy Chicago Bears fans in your league. Thomas says 2-2. Please rate the 10-team PBR format. We have Lamar, Amon-Ra, Puka, Godwin, Kamara, Taylor, Andrews, Hollywood, Sutton, Quentin Johnson, Elijah Mitchell. Great team. We have the Lamar Andrews stack. We have running back and wide receiver with upside down on the bench. And also, keep in mind, it's a team that we had no Jonathan Taylor for the first month, and we stayed alive. We stayed 2-2. That's the goal, right? Whenever you have Jonathan Taylor, just stay alive at the beginning. Tilted Hippo says, I have 2 in Lamar. Should we trade Lamar for Jonathan Taylor? Thanks. Appreciate you, my friend. Really up to you. I have no idea. I mean, I think the ceiling is there for it. Obviously, we're the ones taking on all the risk. But it is nice knowing that JT will be back in practice on Wednesday. Now, Embry says, should we trade Jamar and DJ Moore for Tyreek Hill? I would not fault you at all if you wanted to make this move if it was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. John says, Should I trade Pacheco, Ridley, Flowers for Cup, Brees in a double flex format? I'm 3-1, and we have Lamar, Pollard, JT Diggs, Puka, Ayuk, Laporta, Ingram, Charbonnet, Spears, and Roshan. So Pacheco to Brees, slight downgrade. Call it a lateral move. Ridley and Flowers to Cooper Kupp. I probably would rather have Cooper Kupp at this time. Obviously, you are taking on a lot of risk, but personally, I'm one that plays fantasy football in a way where I'm willing to take on said risk. Augustin says, should I trade Kelsey and Olave for A.J. Brown and Hawkinson? Where we have Jalen Hurts. If you have Jalen Hurts, I'm going to be fine making this move. I most likely keep Travis Kelsey, my friend. I understand A.J. Brown just had a massive game. Chris Olave did nothing, primarily based off the Derek Carr injury. I probably hold on to Kelsey, but I could see a lot of people wanted to go A.J. Brown. Now, Jay says, 10-team Matt BBR Superflex League, rostering Fields, Geno, Lamar, and Richardson. Thoughts on Etienne and Geno for Jonathan Taylor? Feeling risky, and I'm sick and tired of Etienne. Etienne's going to be fine. Honestly, I think Etienne and Jonathan Taylor are in a similar range rest of season. Really like the idea of taking these quarterbacks that maybe don't have the elite level ceiling, such as Geno Smith, and going and trying to get an upgrade at running back. I think we're just not getting enough value there. But yeah, love the idea of throwing Geno Smith on the trade block whenever we have Lamar and Richardson. Thomas says he has Mostert as well. Okay, that's not going to change anything for us, my man. Mostert is interesting because I want to know what the role is going to be like for Jeff Wilson Jr. when he comes back, and if Wilson's going to be playing this week. Ross says 10-team at BBR single flex. We have Tua, Lawrence, Bijan, Moss, Pacheco, Najee, Diggs, Ayuk, Watson, Myers, Kirk, Hawkinson. I'm 4-0. Any moves? We would like a running back. Yeah, so running back may be tough if Jonathan Taylor goes back to Indianapolis, and obviously Zach Moss is then just completely disappearing. We have Isaiah Pacheco to backfill in. If you wanted to potentially go through and see if we could send maybe like Christian Kirk and Najee Harris and get a running back that we are excited about in the long term, like if you can somehow swindle your way over to getting Travis Etienne for it, let's do it. I mean, with Kirk, I am going to be honestly very willing to sell him high just based off Zay Jones coming back into this offense and how that may change things. Neve says, should we trade James Conner for Joe Mixon? Appreciation, my man. They're right there. Both of them are in like the worst offenses in the NFL. I personally probably go Joe Mixon because he's younger and I have more hope with the Bengals in the long term than the Cardinals. Central Mood says 0-4 in a full BBR format. Looking for a wide receiver trade. Any advice? We have Pollard, Barkley, Devon, Mostert, Olave, Ridley, Atwell, Dell, Lockett, Laporta, Waller, Hall, Brian Robinson. You have to take these guys that have the long-term upside and convert them to points immediately. Go sell Sam Laporta and a wide receiver like Tutu Atwell. Get a wide receiver right now. Or Sam Laporta, Tank Dell. Get someone producing right now. Breece Hall and Calvin Ridley. Get someone producing right now. Ultimately, if you are in that spot where we need to win currently, we can't just sit here and go, okay, Breece Hall maybe has long-term in the upside if something were to change. Shane says, I traded Ridley, Watson, White for Tyreek and my commissioner vetoed. That's BS, my man. Should I never play in his league? I honestly maybe won it. At least in my mind, I just say that vetoes are only acceptable when it is clear-cut collusion. I don't think that's clear-cut collusion. So I would personally say, yeah, I mean, this is kind of just complete BS. Unless you know them personally, of course. Maybe it'd be a little bit different. Anthony says 3-1, 12-team full BBR, single flex. We have Jalen Hurts, Bijan, Etienne, Amon-Ra, Higgins, Pitts, Mostert. On the bench, we have London, Mingo, Charbonnet, Roshan, Musgrave, Miller, Johnston, Kyler in the IR. Any moves on the waiver wire? We have Ferguson and Michael Wilson. Drop Jonathan Mingo for Michael Wilson. Drop Luke Musgrave for Jake Ferguson. In terms of trades, there's not too many trades I'm looking to make. I think it's a great team. There's a reason that we're 3-1. I think we just want to churn that bottom end of the waiver wire here. So yeah, let's drop Luke Musgrave for Jake Ferguson and drop Jonathan Mingo for Michael Wilson. Now, it's Tyler coming out, says 10-team 1-3. We have Lawrence, Pollard, Devon, Tyreek, Ridley, Olave, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have JT, Nico Collins. Should we start playing Nico Collins? So the thing is, would you start Nico Collins over Chris Olave? Would you start him over Calvin Ridley? I may start him over Calvin Ridley at this point, my man. I mean, it is such a tough spot. Yeah, I honestly probably do. I'll get my rankings out as soon as I can for the wide receiver position. Running back rankings will come tomorrow. But we're most likely going to have to put Nico Collins ahead of Calvin Ridley at this point. And everybody spam the chat. Who would you bench out of these three players? Spam the chat. Let me know. Are you going to bench Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, or Nico Collins? My answer is probably you're going to bench Calvin Ridley. But let me know. I could be off here. And also, while you're down there, hit that like button. We are one like away from hitting 400 likes on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy for tonight, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. You can find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you will be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em. More than less than half a passing yard in the game tonight against the Giants. But yeah, it looks like bench Olave, Ridley, Ridley, Olave, Ridley, Olave, Ridley, Ridley. Ridley, Olave, Olave. Ridley, Ridley, Ridley. Yeah. I mean, I'm not nearly as concerned about Chris Olave as I am Calvin Ridley. Okay. So let's move this over. Sorry, we're pulling up these questions on the other page for now. These are going to be those super chats that were already there, but we just ran out of space on the other room. So this next question coming out from, I believe, Mark, who says, 12-team PBR double flex. We have Tua, Etienne, Jacobs, Chase, Amari, Kelsey, Stevenson, Addison. And then on the bench, we have Roshan, Hunt, Brees, Wandale, Christian Watson, Josh Downs. On the IR, we have Kupp, Jeff Wilson. Kupp traded away Collins and Devon. Is that a massive L? Nico Collins is crushing it. Top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards. Devon Achane is at the very top of the NFL in touchdowns. I want to say I would rather have Cooper Kupp, but I'm also an idiot, my man. So I have no idea. Now, Eric says 12-team PBR, single flex, 3-1. We have Russ, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Stevenson, Moss, Collins, Hawkinson. On the bench, we have Thielen, Madison, Akers, Tutu, Spears, Rashee Rice. Any running back help? Thanks. I mean, obviously, Zach Moss may no longer be viable, or Madre Stevenson looks like he's garbage. But the thing is, we don't really have any valuable players that we can go through and trade away. So, I mean, I would actually look to hold on to this roster. We're 3-1. I mean, we have some time where we can just sit here and wait to figure it out. What I'd probably look to do is just cut Rashee Rice, pick up another running back off the waiver wire that maybe could make a difference. Now, Camus says, I have Tua, Richardson, Chase, Waddle, Flowers, Watson, Jacobs, Mostert, then Kittle, McPherson, Ravens defense. How are you 0-4, my man? 10-team league. I would say if you're in a 6-point passing touchdown format, you're probably going to want to go through and see what we could get for Anthony Richardson, preferably going ahead and upgrading the flex spot. However, if you're in a 4-point passing touchdown format, probably going to want to see what you can get from Tua. I'd rather have Richardson in a 4-point passing touchdown league and Tua in a 6-point passing touchdown league. Now, Luke says 12-team PBR, single flex. We have Watson, Stroud, Bijan Sanders, Smith, Keenan, Flowers, Kirk, Laporta, and then a bunch of mids on the bench. Any ideas on how to get a running back? I mean, running back Miles Sanders may be better when he is fully healthy. We're 3-1, so we can't play the long game here. But I think maybe actually it'd be interesting on a 3-1 roster that's a full PBR format. If you could sell like Miles Sanders and get back Jahmyr Gibbs, someone that could expand his role as the season goes on, I think that'd be interesting, my friend. Now, our next question coming out from Jordan says, Walker and Ford on the bye this week. Need a wide receiver, running back, and a flex. We have Ayuk, Judy, Gibbs, Madison, and Achane. We're going to go Achane at running back. We're going to go Ayuk at wide receiver. And then for the flex, it's either going to be down between Madison or Jerry Judy. Don't know just yet. We'll look into the matchups a little bit more later this week, my friend. Please play those other two guys. Now, Son says, Nigo on the waivers somehow. Drop Michael Thomas, Hopkins, or Jerry Judy. I would probably go ahead and drop Michael Thomas for him. Now, Carietta says, 16-team at PBR, 4-0, 2 wide receiver, single flex, where we have Hurts, Algier, Kyron, Jefferson, Debo, Kittle, Puka starting. On the bench, we have Myers, Hollywood, Samaji, McKinnon. What are your thoughts on trades and the team? 4-0 roster, obviously, we can think a little bit more long-term here. I mean, I think it's a super, super strong team. And I'm actually going to probably keep it as is because in a 16-team format, I mean, going through and trading for an upgrade at running back too, I mean, with some of our wide receiver depth, it's not going to be super easy where all of a sudden, I mean, we can't really just, I mean, easily replace that wide receiver depth, right? So I think we probably sit on our hands, my friend. I think that you're going to be in a really good spot. Now, next question coming out from Fred says, 1-3 PBR. We have Lamar, Jacobs, Javonte, Amari, Puka, Kelsey, Watson. On the bench, we have Najee, Madison, Nico, Dotson, Kelly. Any ideas? We have a ton of depth. We do have a lot of depth. I mean, if we could send like Najee Harris, a player with a limited ceiling, with Javonte Williams and go get a stud running back that we'd really like, I think that would make a lot of sense. But ultimately, yeah, really the only thing that we're going to look to do is make that 2-for-1 deal where we get an upgrade in the starting lineup. And I will say as a side note as well, you want to go through and you want to drop Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly, not worth the roster spot, even with the banged up Austin Eckler. Clearly, this was someone that made no difference. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Chris says, 10-team dynasty. I traded Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and a future second for Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, and Andrews. Oh, thank God. Thank God you got Andrews here. I was very worried initially. There's a team in the league desperate for a tight end. Try to trade Andrews for Puka. I'm an idiot, so I would still rather have Andrews over Puka in dynasty. Actually, I don't even know if we can say that. It's really up to you. I have no idea, my man. I'll say a good deal going and getting a JT and Andrews here. Ten-team league, I typically say that we want to go ahead and we want to build around an elite level tight ends. How old is Mark Andrews? Literally just turned 28. We probably got to go through and take. I'm not going to tell anybody to not take Puka. Go get Puka if you want him, my man. Amir says, do I trade Puka, the GOAT, for Travis Etienne? We have Cup on the IR. We have Madison and Aaron Jones. Thanks, Mason. Thank you, my friend. I can no longer answer Puka questions. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I have no idea what to do. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Puka or Travis Etienne if your running backs are Alexander Madison and Aaron Jones? Before this week, I was easily saying to go through and to trade Puka for Travis Etienne. But after this week, I don't know if I can keep doing it. Keep Puka, Etienne. Puka, Etienne. Puka, Etienne, Puka. Puka, Etienne. Does look like most people are saying Travis Etienne here. I have no idea. I would have been a lot better off just not answering anybody's questions about Puka for a while now. Kami says, what running back to go for in a trade with Anthony Richardson to replace Zach Moss? It's a super flex format where we have Ertz, Allen, Jake. Okay, so if it's a super flex format, here are the list of running backs I would trade Anthony Richardson for. CMC, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley. Maybe Josh Jacobs. I mean, you can't really, I mean, if you were selling Anthony Richardson in a super flex format, you need to make sure that you're making that other player overpay. Dash says a full BBR 8-team double flex league, 2-2, Richardson at quarterback, Etienne and Stevenson at RB, Jefferson, AJ Brown at receiver, Andrews at tight end, flex is Brees and Kirk. On the bench, we have Judy, Godwin, and JSN. I think we sit on our hands, my friend. I mean, I was ready to go through and say, oh, okay, well, let's get an upgrade in the flex spot. It looks like we don't have that much depth. I mean, if we could take, say, Chris Godwin and Brees Hall, go trade him for a great player in the flex spot, we'd do it. Much easier said than done, though. Now, Pedro says 3-1. Should we upgrade. It's a 10-team PPR format where we have Jalen Hurts, CMC, James Cook, Puka, Devonta Smith, Hawkinson, Devon Achane, and then on the bench we have Wilson, Watson, Connor, Breida, Brian Robinson, Palmer, and DJ Chark. So, I mean, we have about 4 startable players in the bench. I think that this is a team that can afford to go out there and upgrade. The question is, like, where do we want to do it? It's already a great starting lineup. So really maybe the only thing is like taking one of these depth running backs like James Conner and sending him with Garrett Wilson to see if we can get an elite level wide receiver. That would be interesting, but great team, my friend. Rex says, thank you to be proud. 12-team PPR format. Started Jalen Hurts, CMC, Swift, Achane, Terry, Dobbs, Hawkinson. Oh my gosh. On the bench, we have Godwin, Hollywood, Akers, Garrett, Moss, Roshan. You must have dropped literally a zillion points. I think we sit on our hands. It's not like we have a ton of players down there on the bench that have a crazy amount of value. And obviously, as we close in on the buys, depth is going to matter a little more. David says 2-2, 10-team PPR format. We have Hurts, Saquon, Akers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari, Gainwell, Tajee, Reed, Goddard. I'm depleted depth-wise. We got offered Ridley and Pacheco for Amon-Ra. Was this a good move? And any other ideas for our team? So yeah, depth with this team is really lacking if we have Cam Akers as our RB2. I like the idea of going through and selling Amon-Ra St. Brown for a downgrade at wide receiver and another viable running back. I think we're probably just not getting enough value out of this deal, my friend. I like the idea, and this is probably about the trade that we look to make. We just need to squeeze a little more value. Now, Pedro says 12-team happy BR. Should we panic on Chase? Trade Chase and Flowers for Lamb and Brees. We have Kyron and JT just coming up. Ayuk, Dell, and JSN at wide receiver. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have rest of season? Would you rather have Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb? My thing is, I think that Chase is a player that's going to produce even if he has a bad quarterback, right? I think Chase is kind of going to get there regardless. So let me know, would you rather have Chase or Lamb? Chase. I mean, no, this was Lamb. Chase. Lamb, Chase. Yeah, so it does look like most people are taking Jamar Chase here. I mean, I just wanted to double check. This is the second question that we've had, essentially asking if we should trade Jamar Chase for CeeDee Lamb. I'm still going to have Chase over Lamb. Now, Chris says, happy BR 12-team snake draft, standard roster. Hold or put or try to upgrade somewhere. We have Purdy, Bijan, Kyron, Swift, Pacheco, Pierce, Hunt, A.J. Brown, Puka, Watson, London, Moore, Atwell, Musgrave. If it's a single flex format, I would love to go out there and get a better tight end. If you could send Pacheco and Musgrave or Pacheco and London or Pacheco and Moore and go get a player in the TJ Hawkinson range, I would love it. Obviously, with that being a single flex format, it being most appealing. Now, Rob says, in a 2-2, 12-team Happy BR 3 wide receiver, trade Kupp, Aaron Jones, Terry, Higbee for Jefferson, Pacheco, and Elijah Moore. Terry, Higbee for Pacheco, or neither? If you were going to make this move, I would be going with the first one, where say Terry, if you think Terry and Higbee equals Pacheco, let's take him out of the first trade. Then in that first trade, we're trading Cooper Kupp and Aaron Jones for Justin Jefferson. I would 100% do that. The second deal maybe is a little bit more questionable. But if we're able to get Jefferson, let's send it. Austin says trade Montgomery and Pacheco for Michael Pittman and Travis Etienne. Montgomery to Etienne in a full BBR format. This week, I have Montgomery ranked higher. Rest of season as Gibbs expands his role, I'd probably rather have Etienne. And then Pacheco, Pittman, up to you. I think a very fair deal. It's up to you. Sergio says, is Puka for Olave a good trade? I have spent the past God knows how many weeks telling people, sell Puka Nacua for Chris Olave. Couple come back in. Puka will be a low-end wide receiver 2, and Chris Olave will still be a wide receiver 1. After this week, I don't know. After this week, I do not want to be telling anybody to do this. I'll ask the live chat and hear what they have to say. Who would y'all rather have rest of season? Would you rather have Puka or Chris Olave rest of season? Please let me know, ladies and gentlemen. E-Money, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my friend. Happy to have you. We got Puka, Olave, Olave. Olave, no clue. Puka, Olave, Olave. Olave, Puka. Olave, Puka. Puka, Olave, Puka. So it looks like most people are saying Puka Nacua here, my man. And I'm to the point where I have no idea between these two players. So all I'm going to say is go with whoever has the more trade value. If the live chat's saying Puka, it's Puka. My issue is I always try to look through a historical lens of what we are getting with players and how we can project that going forward. And I just simply cannot find someone that looks like Puka historically. I can't do it. Now, Ryan Camp's coming out and says a 14-team 4-0. We have Tua, Hill, Smith, JT Sanders, Brees, Andrews, Ridley in the flex. Traded Puka and Nico for Ridley, Sanders, or Brees for Olave. If so, which running back team grade? I am so damn sorry, my man. Obviously, 4-0 roster, happy to see it. I would say we probably can't make another 2-for-1 deal, however, with this being a 14-team format and depth being a little bit tougher to come by. So we are going to be going through and trying to map this out. Great team for now, obviously being 4-0. We kind of know that. But I think that we hold on to the depth that we have, especially as we go into the buys in a 14-team league. But ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if you have not done so already, we are about 2 likes away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream. Please go down there, drop a like on this stream. We have live streamed every single day for 157 days in a row, not stopping until 2024. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems for tonight's games, you can find that on Underdog Fantasy. Link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers and a Geno Smith special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard going up against the Giants tonight. But let's swing this back around. Our next question coming out from Clay Daddy says 10-team at BBR, 2 and 2 running backs are Barkley, Jacobs, Kamara, Montgomery. Wide receivers are weak. Guy with Gibbs wants Barkley for Adams and Gibbs, or Barkley and Ridley, or reach higher. If we could send Saquon Barkley for Devontae Adams and Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm completely fine doing this on a team where you're comfortable with your running back position, but not your wide receiver. I mean, there's an outside chance that Devontae Adams is better than Barkley rest of the way. Now, Emmanuel coming out says 12-team full BBR format, 3 receivers, 2 flexes. We're 1 and 3. We have Mahomes, Williams, Gibbs, Wilson, Moore, Pickens, Njoku, Pacheco, Dell. What moves to win now, or should we wait? So if we're looking at long-term value that we need to cash in for short-term production, we don't really have much. The thing is, maybe we could say that with Jahmyr Gibbs, but in reality, nobody's giving you anything for Jahmyr Gibbs, so we're probably better off just looking to hold and seeing if we get a spike. We can see if he continues to expand his role. So I'm sorry, my friend. I think that you're honestly in a position where you may just end up having to wait. Now, Lane coming out. Thank you, my man. Says 10-team full BBR, 3 and 1. We have Herbert, Richardson, James Cook, Swift, Aaron Jones, Akers, Jonathan Taylor. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Lamb, Pickens, Hollywood, Dell, Jameson. Tight end, we have Waller. We were offered Ridley, Saquon for Cook, Hollywood, Pickens. Should I accept? So I'd say typically on a team that we're 3 and 1, I mean, we are wanting to go through and trade for the player that has the highest ceiling long term, specifically for the fantasy football playoffs. So through that lens, would I rather have Saquon Barkley or James Cook, Hollywood, and George Pickens? I'd rather have Saquon Barkley straight up, my man. The fact that we're going to get Calvin Ridley on here is just going to make it a no-brainer. I'd still rather have Calvin Ridley over Hollywood Brown. I'd still rather have him over George Pickens. Phenomenal trade. Way to go out there and get some long-term upside by selling short-term production. Now, Megalodon coming out says, I have Pollard is trading Henry and Kamara for Bijan and Mixon, a good trade. Kamara to Mixon, up to you. Henry versus Bijan, full BBR format. I'm going to go with Bijan. Full BBR format. Give me Bijan. G says, trade Madison and McLaurin for T.J. Hawkinson. If it is a start 2 wide receiver single flex format, give me the stud tight end. Give me Hawkinson. Carlos says, 12-team full BBR format, 2 receivers and a flex. We have Allen, Diggs, Godwin, Javonte, Brian Robinson, Andrews, Hopkins. On the bench, we have JSN, Herbert, JT coming back. Looking to package Hopkins and Herbert. Who would you target? Under the assumption that this is Khalil Herbert, if we could go DeAndre Hopkins and Khalil Herbert and go get one of those wide receivers that people are panicking over, go get someone like Chris Olave, I would love it. Or someone like even Jalen Waddle. I mean, I am actually really concerned about DeAndre Hopkins continuously playing less and less here in Tennessee. Now, Jacob coming out says 12-team full BBR format, super flex, 1 flex, 3 receivers, 6-point passing touchdown format. Saying 3-1 if DK goes less than 10.5 points. We have Pat Fields, Sam Howell, Saquon Gibbs, Ford, Warren Hunt, St. Brown, Olave, Puka, Flowers, Addison, London, Pitts. What move should I make? Cut, trade, hold, who? So 6-point passing touchdown format. I think that this is the perfect opportunity to get out of Justin Fields. What I'd probably look to do is go through and see if we can trade Justin Fields for either Justin Herbert or honestly, maybe even, say a Kirk Cousins type player, specifically in a 6-point per passing touchdown format. Obviously, Fields crushes this week, but it's against the worst defense in the NFL. The Broncos have the worst defense, and it's not even remotely close at this point. And I think Fields can maybe get there if you were looking at the fact that it is in a 4-point passing touchdown format. It's a setup where he can just have a bunch of rushing production, and he's still great in fantasy, even if he's bad from a real life perspective. 6-point passing touchdown format is probably not going to get him there, though. So if we could take Justin Fields and pivot over to a quarterback like Justin Herbert, I think that would make a ton of sense if we can possibly do it. Now, Spellman says we have Hurts, Lawrence, Ramondre, Sanders, Brees, AJ, Ridley, Ayuk, JSN, Jahan, Gabe Davis, Elijah, Woods, Musgrave. Thoughts and any suggestions? So this is another super flex 6-point passing touchdown league. Here, I think we're going to be holding on to these quarterbacks. Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders have been very bad. You're not going to be able to sell them for anything. I think it's a strong team in terms of the overall balance that we have. The only thing I'd say is let's make sure that we are going to go through and drop Luke Musgrave and pick up one of those tight ends off the waiver wire that we talked about in the video today. Or honestly, I'd be willing to drop Robert Woods and Luke Musgrave and pick up 2 tight ends there. Okay. Now, Turley coming out says 0-4. We have Stroud, Achane, Etienne, Diggs, Olave, Ferguson, Nico Collins. On the bench, we have Zay Flowers, Dell and Elijah Moore, Palmer, Hunt, Fields, Deontay, and Jahmyr Gibbs. 0-4, we're doing everything we can to sell long-term value for short-term production. So these rookies, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zay Flowers, sell them, get points in the starting lineup right now. Deontay Johnson, someone banged up, sell him, get points in the starting lineup right now. Package together Gibbs and Ferguson, go get the best tight end we can. Go package Zay Flowers and Devon Achane, go get the best running back that we can. I mean, this is a team that's loaded up with rookies and long-term options, and a team that we can't really afford to keep waiting for the long-term upside. Now, Jaron says, yo, appreciate you, GOAT. I still need Walker and JSN to give me an 18 combined points to make the dub this week. Fingers crossed. How are you feeling about it? Appreciate you, my man. And honestly, I think you have a good shot. If it is a full PBR format, I think you probably have it where we can most likely see anywhere from like 4 to 8 points from Jackson Smith and Jigba, and say that only needs Kenneth Walker to get to about 12 to get us there. And I think that can happen. Hopefully, a non-PBR format will be less likely. Now, Desiree coming out says 12-team league where we have Goff, JT, Connor, Madison, Jefferson, Garrett, Andrews, Sutton, McLaurin, Stafford, Warren, Palmer, Laporta, Kyler. Any trades? We are 3-1. Very well-balanced team. The only thing I'd say is if we could take Sam Laporta and a quarterback and go get an elite level QB when we have Andrews to start every week anyway, I think that'd be interesting. Or if you could take Sam Laporta and like either James Conner or Alexander Madison, trade them for a top end running back, that would be very interesting as well, my friend. Now, WTF Hawk says, but is Pacheco an auto start now or a sell high? I would say a little bit in between. I don't think Pacheco is an auto start. I don't think we're going to be selling him. I think it's going to be like a mid running back 2 from now on, but seeing less and less Clyde Edwards-Helaire here is very encouraging for Pacheco. Now, Jason says 12-team PPR format where we have Tua, Lamar, Mostert, Achane, Rachaad White, Diggs, Waddle, Kirk, Jameson, Wilson, Waller. Any upgrades offered Cook, Kirk for Jamar Chase. Go get Jamar Chase ASAP. Go get Jamar Chase. We have the running back depth to get by. If you wanted to go through and sell a quarterback to go get another running back once we make that move, that would be interesting. But yeah, if you can get Chase at that price point, I'll be a buyer of Chase. Embry says, should I trade Chase, DJ Moore, and Devon Achane for Devontae Adams and DeAndre Swift? Chase versus Adams, probably Adams. Achane, DJ Moore versus DeAndre Swift, up to you. I think it's a very fair deal in this year, personal preference. Personal preference there, my man. But we have Iceberg coming out and says 3-1, 10-team Superflex PPR. We have Hurts, Cousins, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Goddard, Jefferson, Amari, Madison, Myers. And then on the bench, we have Dotson, Addison, Herbert, Warren, Howell, Bourne, Woods, Spears. Any ideas or any moves to make? I think it's a phenomenal team. The only thing I would say is when we're rostering this many wide receivers, I probably want to be going through and maybe focusing in a little bit more on running backs with upside down there in the bench. Like Tajay Spears, the perfect guy to roster, right? Where if you were to see an injury to Derrick Henry, then Tajay Spears is someone that we can get very excited about. But in terms of guys like Robert Woods, Kendrick Bourne, I don't really see how they turn into weekly starters for us, especially in a 10-team league. These would be wide receivers that I just let go to the waiver wire, and I'd pick up a couple of the guys that we were talking about in the video today instead. But yeah, trades, I think you're going to be fine. Safe Stacks coming out says 10-team BBR single flex. We have Lawrence Purdy. Should we trade Purdy, Roshan Dobbs for Anthony Richardson? Hell yes, my man. 2-2 with Cup and Taylor coming back. Quarterback, our only weakness. Yes, let's go ahead and let's get Anthony Richardson. You can make an argument maybe Brock Purdy's as good as Anthony Richardson from a real life perspective, but from a fantasy perspective, when you're getting the Richardson rushing upside, you got to go for it. Now, Esteno says, love the vids. Would you trade Kamara and Amari for Taylor? We had Richardson, Diggs, Puka, and Kamara this week, and they all killed it. I think it is a very fair deal, and it's up to you. If it's a non-PPR format, I'd for sure do it. Full BBR league, it'd be a little bit tougher. James says 3-1, 12-team PPR league where we have Allen, Walker, Chase, Puka, Hawkinson, Gabe Davis. And then on the bench, we have Kirk, Brian Robinson, Zach, Tank, Cup. Burrow team wants Chase and Brian Robinson for Bijan. Or Chase and Montgomery for Bijan and Garrett Wilson. If I was going to do one, it would be the first one. I would be fine if you wanted to make this play for Bijan Robinson if it was a start 2 wide receiver and 1 flex league. If the depth just frankly did not matter there in that setup, then sure, we could go ahead and do it. But in a league where depth matters in the slightest, probably not. Chase says, Mixon and Jefferson for Diggs and Jacobs, a full PPR format. I would clearly rather have Jacobs over Mixon. I'd clearly rather have Jefferson over Diggs. I probably hold on to the best player. Probably hold on to Justin Jefferson here, even though I wouldn't fault you at all if you made the deal. Very fair. Ryan says 1-3, 10-team BBR, where we have Love, Henry, Pollard, DK, Puka, Njoku, Madison, Hopkins, Javonte, Gabe, Goff, Pitts, Chark. Look, it's not been on my side. Need any move ideas. Cut DJ Chark, pick up one of the guys that we talked about off the waiver wire. Outside of that, I mean, I would say it's a pretty strong team. If we could somehow swindle ourselves into a tight end upgrade by sending like DeAndre Hopkins and David Njoku and see if we can get to the tier of like TJ Hawkinson, then that'd be an absolute no-brainer. But in reality, I would assume that you're probably not going to be able to do that, my man. Probably not going to be able to. Now, I'm actually going to have to refresh this so we can keep on bringing up these questions. Now, Pierce will be our next question. And as I set this up, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you'll be getting a Geno Smith Special pick 'em. More than, less than half a total yard going up against the Giants tonight. But looks like, oh my gosh, we are still going to be looking at this crappy view. I don't know why. Sometimes it gets spaced out weird like this. Ooh, maybe it's a little bit better. Let me see. Not really. Okay. This next team coming out from Pierce Bronson, who says, Happy BR 10-team league offered Ayuk, Jalen Warren for my Ramondre Stevenson. We have Jacobs, Montgomery, Moss, and looking to upgrade receiver. If Jacoby Myers is your starting wide receiver too, you probably have to go through and you probably have to take Ayuk here. And then with Breece Hall, rest of season, I don't think he's startable until we see something change. Until we see something change, I think we're probably going to have to go through. Probably going to have to just keep Breece Hall on the bench. Okay. Now, Grant coming out says, I'm 1-3 in a PBR league. We have Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Javonte, Khalil Herbert at running back. Receivers are Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, and Palmer. Should we trade Ramondre and DJ Moore for James Conner? Probably not. I like the idea. I think we need a little bit of a better running back in a full PBR format. I mean, I think we'd rather have James Conner over Ramondre, but I don't want to say, okay, sell Ramondre Stevenson because he's in a horrible offense, and let's go through and let's buy James Conner, you know? So I don't think so, my friend. But Stefano coming out says 0-4 and need help, full BBR, where we have Burrow, Pollard, Connor, Atwell, Puka, Henry, Cooper. And then on the bench, we have Thomas, Roshan, Dell, Breida, Dowdle, Cup on the IR. We need production now. What moves would you make? I really do not like this team, my friend. I mean, the only thing I'd say is if we could somehow send, say, like Michael Thomas and Joe Burrow to go get a quarterback that's going to help us in the short term, let's do it. Even if we are sacrificing long-term upside, even if you were to have Joe Burrow come back at one point and be fully healthy, we probably are in a position where we can't afford to wait for that. If we're 0-4, I mean, we can come back from 1-5. I won my first fantasy football championship when I started off 1-4, but we can't come back from 0-5. Can't come back from 0-5. I mean, they're kind of about time to throw in the towel. I mean, I guess you can, but it'll be really tough. It'll be nice that we get cut back in. Take one of these depth wide receivers like Thomas, send him with Burrow, see if we can get a quarterback that's actually producing right now. I mean, much easier said than done, though. Max says, I'm 3-1 in a 12-team BBR format, single flex, two-player keeper. Burrow, Richardson, Walker, White, Chase, Amon-Ra, Hawkinson, Ayuk. Should we look to make any trades? Thank you. No, great team, my friend. Keep the team as is. We're focusing on a lot of long-term upside here on a 3-1 roster. That's what you love to see. Oh, sorry, down the wrong pipe. But outside of that, you're good to go. I mean, especially in a two-player keeper where these players are exciting for next year as well. Now, Tone Bear says, I'm 3-1. We have Allen, Metcalf, Gabe Davis, Saquon, Sanders, Hunter Henry, Goddard, Judy. Should I trade Keenan Allen, and what is he worth? I mean, I understand why you'd want to trade Keenan Allen, right? Because he is not going to be playing this week. We don't want to fall to 1-4. In reality, any other player that you're going to trade for is going to be on that bye week he's going to have a bye week as well. So no, we're not going to be trading away Keenan Allen. I would actually say we're going to be holding on to Keenan. This is someone that I wish I drafted more of. It's not like I have a ton of Keenan Allen, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I mean, he kind of, I don't want to say has won the season, but with the Mike Williams injury, the man's just going to get so much volume at this point. I think you have to hold on to Keenan. Now, Colby says, Puka and Ramondre sent for Ridley and White. Give me White over Ramondre. If you would have asked me after week 1, after even week 2, maybe even week 3, I would have said we definitely wanted Ridley over Puka, but at this point, it looks like you'd rather have Puka rest of season. I forgot to cancel the trade after I sent it last Tuesday, and he accepted it this morning. Did we win? I will say, generally, if you send a trade and then it gets accepted a week later after these players play games, like that's not a valid trade. Like you should be able to take that back if you didn't want it. I would say you probably could have gotten more value. I mean, I thought we wanted Calvin Ridley over Puka, but I mean, Ridley keeps doing nothing and Puka keeps crushing. Now, Jordan says, I want to trade Chase away. What would the return be? Someone traded Chase in a small piece for Bijan Robinson earlier if you wanted to do that. I've seen some other people in this live stream trading away Jamar Chase for CeeDee Lamb. I would rather have Chase over CeeDee Lamb, even with the Burrow injury, though. P. Smith says 10-team standard 3-1. We have Kirk, Stevenson, Gibbs, Lamb, Puka, Henry, A.J. Brown. On the bench, we have Love, Saquon, Brees, Jalen Warren, Terry, Watson. Thoughts in any trades? Thanks. So thank you, my friend. I think it's a phenomenal team. I mean, I don't necessarily think that we want to be doing anything right now. Obviously, getting Saquon Barkley in is going to help a ton. Really, the only thing is if you could potentially sell Terry McLaurin, like send Terry McLaurin and Hunter Henry to go get some stud tight end, then let's do it. In reality, you're in a very comfortable position where I don't necessarily think we need to do anything. Jaggy says, is Pacheco a must start now, Gibbs or Pacheco in a full PPR format? So I actually just made our rankings for this next week. I put Isaiah Pacheco at running back 19, and I have Jahmyr Gibbs at running back 28. So yes, let's say Pacheco is a must-start running back now if you are playing in a 12-team format. I don't want to act like he's like a locked and loaded RB1, though. Now, Karen says, should I trade Laporta for Isaiah Pacheco? We have Hurts or Madre Sanders, Adrian Brown, Pittman, Kelsey, Achan, Happy BR. Do you think I can get more value? I think you could get more value based off what I've seen with the hype surrounding Sam Laporta this season. If this was your best offer, I do see how it would help the team, though. So I would definitely try to get some more value before we make this trade. Gritty Clips says trade Pollard for Henry and Puka and have, oh my gosh, full PPR format. Can everybody spam the chat? I am done. I don't know if I can keep answering Puka questions. I'm an idiot. Can you spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Tony Pollard or Derrick Henry and Puka Nacua? Who would you rather have? Pollard. Package. Pollard. Package. So it does seem like it's split a little bit. I don't know. Like, I'm an idiot. I'm the last person we should be asking Puka questions. Stauzo says, just bought Derrick Henry on the low. Traded him for Etienne and Nico Collins. Current lineup now is Richardson, Pollard, Henry, A.J. Brown, Olave, Laporta, Ridley. Great team. QB1, multiple running back ones, multiple wide receiver ones, a solid tight end. Love to see it. Now, Lab's coming out saying 12-team full PPR format. We have Pollard, Mixon, JT, Tyreek, but Mike Williams out rest of season. I need a wide receiver or two for one of my running backs. Anything in mind? If you wanted to send Mixon for like Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, I think that could make sense in a full PPR format, especially if we are getting Jonathan Taylor back, my man. But Chad coming out says 10-team full PPR league, 2 wide receivers and a flex. Traded Mostert, Adams, Sanders for Kupp, Taylor, Eckler, Theo. Oh, great deal. Gonna be 4-0. So Adams to Eckler, 4-0 roster, up to you. Sanders for Jonathan Taylor easily. Reem Mostert versus Cooper Kupp easily. Great deal on a 4-0 team where we're looking for long-term upside. Sean says trade James Cook for DeAndre Swift or Brees Hall or Gibbs. If you wanted to make a trade, you're going to send James Cook for DeAndre Swift. Not for Hall or Gibbs. Unless it's Dynasty, of course. Now, Watson says 4-0, 10-team double flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Travis, Lamb, Ayuk, Waller, Kamara, Kyron, Flowers, Laporta. Picked up Charbonnet, Johnston, lost Mike Williams and Javonte. Any long-term moves? I don't necessarily think so. I think that this is a team that's already set up for the long term, specifically with a couple of these, younger pieces that we have. Since it's going to be a team where we have Darren Waller, if Waller's great tonight, it would be interesting to see if we could go through and send Sam Laporta and one of these players like Alvin Kamara and get a stud running back in the long term. Joey says 12-team dynasty traded Kyron in a late first for Brees Hall. One quarterback, I like it. Super flex, a little bit closer. LB says team was Lawrence, Jacobs, Swift, Chase, Waddle, Ferguson, Debo at the flex. We traded Jacobs and Chase for Amon-Ra, James Cook, and Anthony Richardson. What are your thoughts? I think Chase to Amon-Ra St. Brown's a downgrade. I think Jacobs to James Cook is a downgrade. We do it so we can get the upgrade to Anthony Richardson. I think we paid too much to do it. If you wanted to send, say, Chase and Lawrence for this package, I would have been fine for it, but I don't know. This seems like a decent amount, my friend. Now, Zach says, looking for a running back trade advice. We're 2-2 in a 10-team PBR double flex with all point bonuses. We have Jalen Hurts, Etienne, Sanders, Chase, A.J. Brown, Ertz, Amari, DK. On the bench, we have Dell, Hubbard, Hollywood, Roshan, Elijah Moore, and Jonathan Taylor. Okay. I think it's a great team. I'm not going to look to do anything right now. I understand that we struggled at running back this week. Hopefully we get Jonathan Taylor back, which looks like it's a pretty strong possibility. I think we wait for Jonathan Taylor news later in the week and then reevaluate if we really need to make a trade then. Now, Guy coming out says, Cup, Pollard for Keenan, Brown, Pacheco. The team is Jalen Hurts, Chase, Keenan, Watson, Kamara, Pacheco, Pitts, Barkley, Moss, Hollywood, Hall, Love, Myers. Cup versus Keenan, up to you. Pollard versus Brown, if that's A.J. Brown, Pollard, but it's close. Pacheco bridges the gap. If that is Hollywood Brown, it's Cup and Pollard by a mile. If that's A.J. Brown, it is up to you, my friend. Trey says just traded Zach Moss for Derrick Henry. Phenomenal trade. If JT comes back, phenomenal deal. Bethy says updated offer. New offer is Hopkins, JT, and Amon-Ra for Diggs and Jerome Ford. Diggs over Amon-Ra St. Brown. But does that bridge the gap between JT and Jerome Ford? If you believe Jonathan Taylor will be back, I think you go Jonathan Taylor and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, y'all know we've been saying this, but I'm not a big Jerome Ford guy. I mean, for a multitude of different reasons. CT says 10-team single flex, happy BR 3-1, where we have Fields, Gibbs, Ramadre, Moss, Wilson, DJ, Lockett, Hollywood, Pitts, Henry. Can trade Ramadre for Waddle. Any other moves? 10-team single flex. We're a little bit less willing to go out there and buy that wide receiver. So I like the trade itself in that I would way rather have the upside shot with Waddle than Ramadre. I mean, Ramadre just looks so damn bad at this point. However, if we are going to make this, I probably want to ask for another running back in return, and we can sell another depth wide receiver for that one running back because it's a 10-team league with only 2 receivers in a flex. LeBronosaurus Rex, longtime member of the flock, 4-0 and dominating. Thoughts on Achane versus Mostert? I have them both, but not sure who I'll be flexing this week. Thanks for all you do. I think we're going to go to Von Achane over Mostert. Achane played more snaps this week. And, I mean, he's trending in the right direction. He's averaging like 11 yards per carry. Then we're going to get more and more to Von Achane and probably less and less Mostert. Now, Kazan says 10-team at BBR, half point per first down. Do I trade Lamb and Puka or Lamb and Ridley for Cooper Kupp? We have Allen, Barkley, Montgomery, James Cook, Christian Watson, or do we not trade? No, you're giving up way too much here, my man. I think you can make an argument that you'd rather have Kupp over Lamb rest of season, but to add in Puka, way too much. Now, Apirno coming out says 10-team BBR, 2-2. Watson, Stroud, Kyron, Mixon, Ridley, Debo, Kelsey, Puka. On the bench, we have Pittman, Gibbs, Madison, Warren. We lost 2 in a row. Any moves? If you could take a depth piece like, say, Michael Pittman, send with CJ Stroud to get to an elite, like top 4 level quarterback, we do it. But in reality, I think we just sit on our hands and this team's going to be better going forward. Timeout Sports says, thanks, Mason. No, thank you, my friend. I'm 1-3 in a non-PBR format. We have Allen, CMC, Connor, Rashad White, Hunt, Dylan, Amon-Ra, Pittman, Davis, Brandon Cooks, Palmer, Hollywood, Logan Thomas. Do we have any trade help? Non-PBR format, obviously, we're a little bit more inclined to go through and chase running backs with touchdown upside. So possibly if we wanted to get off of either James Conner or Rashad White, running backs that are appealing in a full PBR format just based off the raw amount of looks that they have, and go get someone that's in a slightly better offense. Like if you want to send James Conner in a non-PBR format for someone like Isaiah Pacheco, I wouldn't fault you for that. By no means that like an easy deal to make. I'm surprised to see that this team is 1-3. I mean, because if you are sitting here with Christian McCaffrey, like CMC has what, 6 touchdowns this season? Connor's actually been decent. I'm assuming we went up against some pretty tough teams there. Now, WTF Huck says 12-team PPR, double wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Allen, Pacheco, Walker, Olave, Watson, Davis. Bench is Richardson, Warren, Downs, Sky Moore, Dowdle, Keaton, Mitchell. If Walker gets 7 tonight, we're 4-0. Hell yes. Realistic trade for Anthony Richardson and any improvements. I would love to send Anthony Richardson and Gabe Davis to get a better wide receiver in return. If we can go Anthony Richardson, Gabe Davis, and go get like Devonta Smith, go get Jalen Waddle, I think that'd be very appealing for the flex spot. And a big thing that I want to focus in on is the players that we are rostering down here at the bottom end of this team. I know that Keaton like Mitchell has some hype. I know some people are excited about him, but fundamentally, when we're rostering like all these rookies at the bottom end of this team that are probably going to do nothing in the long term, it does put us in a very tough spot in that we're not expecting any of these guys to do anything right now, so we're not going to be able to churn the waiver wire. I think you can cut Mitchell. I think you can probably find someone that maybe we'll get some clarity about right away. Now, Moonwalkin says, would you rather have Puka or Waddle rest of season? I am not going to give you my answer because I'm an idiot. I'm going to ask the live chat and let them say it. Would you rather have Puka or Jalen Waddle rest of season? Please spam the chat and let me know. Spam the chat and let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Puka or Jalen Waddle? If you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said Jalen Waddle and I would have laughed while saying it. But now, we got Puka, 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 Puka. Waddle, Puka, Waddle, Puka. Waddle, Puka, Waddle, Waddle, Waddle. Looks like it's kind of split in the chat 50-50. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Waddle and I would have not even thought about it twice. But it's very hard to ignore what's happening right now. Now, Shea Flo coming out says 12-team PPR where we're 2-2. We have Mahomes, Pollard, Henry, Lamb, Evans, Pittman, Andrews. Should we trade away Henry and Lamb for Jahmyr Gibbs and Tyreek Hill? Full PPR format, I'm actually fine if you wanted to do this under the assumption it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league where we want the best player. Tyreek Hill will be the best player here. It won't be that close. Obviously, downgrading at running back to upgrade wide receiver. I am okay doing this. It's a fair deal, and it is up to you, though. Adam says 1-3, 12-team at PPR format. We have Stroud, Hill, Puka, Jacobs, White, Waller, Dell. On the bench, we have Fields, Najee, Lockett, Myers, Gainwell, Chuba Hubbard. Need a solid running back too. Thoughts on who to trade? I would love to see what we could. You're actually fine at running back too. I think we just need a better flex. I would love to see what we could get for either Justin Fields or CJ Stroud. I feel like both these guys are kind of surging right now where maybe we can squeeze some sell high juice out of them. I mean, if you wanted to see if we could send Justin Fields and like Tank Dell and go get a wide receiver like Jalen Waddle that we just got done discussing, I think that'd be very interesting. But honestly, at running back, with a combination of Rachaad White and Josh Jacobs, I think you are going to be fine, my man. I think you are going to be fine. Now, Kendrick says 1-3, 10-team PPR format where we have Hurts, CMC, Kyron, James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, Puka, Watson, Pittman, Andrews, Flowers, Laporta. What are your thoughts and overall trade targets? I think it's a strong team. I'm really surprised to hear that we're 1-3. I mean, we have great running backs. We have the Hurts, A.J. Brown stack. I mean, we have an elite level tight end. The only thing I'd say is if you wanted to send Sam Laporta and a wide receiver to get a wide receiver upgrade, maybe for the flex, then we go ahead and do it. But in reality, my man, I mean, you are in a phenomenal spot. I don't necessarily think you have to do anything. Jimmy says, should I give up Ayuk and James Cook for CeeDee Lamb? Maybe if it's like a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, but I don't know. Probably not. Evil Skittles says 10-team PPR. We have Mahomes, Kyron, Walker, Amari, Ayuk, Laporta, Sutton. On the bench, we have Ford, Madison, Tank, Dobbs, Flowers, Joshua Palmer. What are your thoughts? I like the team. It would be really nice if we could somehow get to Kelsey for the Mahomes stack, but in reality, that's probably not happening with this squad in particular. I think it's a very strong team. I mean, I think that we just need to see one of these guys break out to be an actual viable flex spot for us from a rest of season perspective. I mean, while Courtland Sutton's been fine now, I don't necessarily know how long this lasts with Courtland Sutton. Okay. Now our next question coming out from, I believe, Go Bills, who says, 2-2 team is Richardson, Fields, Lamb, Olave, Godwin, Hopkins, Hollywood, Kamara, Barkley, Walker, Etienne, Sanders, Kittle. Phenomenal squad. We have the elite level quarterback. We have great receivers with upside. We have running backs that are great as well. I understand how we're 2-2 right now. I mean, hell, you're in a spot where you had Alvin Kamara suspended. You had the Saquon Barkley injury. The only thing I'd say is if we have both the combination of Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields, it'd be really nice if we could send Justin Fields to like the Joe Burrow team to get a significant upgrade elsewhere. Okay. Now, our next question is coming out from, I believe, Gavin, who says, Mason, I need help. It's a 12-team PBR format. We have Bijan, White, Gainwell, Kareem Hunt. We need to start 2. Actually, no, we're not starting guys right now. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Smith, Ayuk, Kirk, Nico, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis. Start 3 in a flex. Who should we look to trade for a better running back? So right now you're starting Bijan Robinson and Rachaad White. I understand that this week's going to be very, very tough whenever we have no Rachaad White on his bye. I mean, it would be nice to have a little bit more depth here if possible. I think in reality, we're probably not going to do this. However, my friend, I think we probably actually sit on our hands because if this is specifically a league where you start 3 wide receivers and a flex, I mean, we can get all these guys in our lineup unless you wanted to go through and see if we can send like Christian Kirk and get back a running back like Isaiah Pacheco. That would maybe make a difference, right? Now, Kyle says 10-team full BBR format. We have Mahomes, CMC, Walker, Olave, Ridley, Andrews, Ayuk. And then on the bench, we have Hopkins, JT, Montgomery, Thielen, Myers, Zay, and Njoku. Any moves at wide receiver? You're going to be just fine at wide receiver. I understand Olave, Ridley were buns this past week. I mean, if you wanted to do something, I'm going through and I'm seeing if we can package together like DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley to go pivot over to a different wide receiver in that range. But yeah, Myers will be good. I mean, we're probably even rostering too many wide receivers. You're going to be fine. I mean, wide receivers are just naturally volatile. I do not worry about Chris Olave. Angus has traded Swift and Jahan Dotson for Saquon Barkley. Great move. Dotson is literally a non-factor. We traded Swift for Barkley, which I love. Mark coming out says 12-team BBR, double flex format, 1 quarterback. We have Allen Richardson, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Kirk, Addison, Waller, Wilson, Dell, Brees, MT. Should we trade Allen, Kirk for Debo? Hell no. I mean, Josh Allen's worth way more than Debo Samuel in his own right. The fact that we had packaged together to go get him. Do not like that at all, my friend. I mean, I'm trying to think of something that we can do here. If we could possibly go ahead and send like Anthony Richardson. If you wanted to trade Anthony Richardson for Debo Samuel, I'd be okay with it. In a double flex format. I agree. That's the move. We're going to look to sell one of these QBs. But you need to be charging a much higher price than that. Now, Griffin says, 4-0, 10-team league. We have Allen, Bijan, Walker, Hill, Smith, Laporta, Ayuk. On the bench, we have Pierce, Freiermuth, Gabe Davis, Algier, Johnson, Wilson, Gibbs. Any advice? I mean, really like the team long-term. 4-0 roster, full BBR format. Love rostering Jahmyr Gibbs down there on the bench. We even have some of these other options that have long-term upside as well. I think it's a great, great team. There's obviously a reason why we are 4-0. I think we honestly just sit on our hands. Okay. Now our next question coming out from, I believe Cam says, Rachaad White and Zay Flowers for Amari Cooper. Probably rather have Rachaad White and Zay Flowers. Now Daniel says 1-3. 12-team BBR, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, 2 running backs. We have Watson, Kupp, Cooper, T, Watson, Connor, Kyron, DJ. On the bench, we have Nico Collins, Khalil Herbert, Hollywood Brown, Jerome Ford. Any moves I should make? This is a league that's going to be built more so around wide receiver if we start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes. So I would say if this was going to be a format where you only started 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, that we would want to take someone like DJ Moore and we would want to see if we can go and send him and Deshaun Watson to go get an upgraded quarterback. But actually, the quarterback position is going to make up a slightly smaller percentage of your starting lineup output from week to week perspective in this kind of league. So I think we actually sit on our hands. I think you're going to be in a very good spot as is, my friend. Now, Jose says 10-team full BBR format, single flex. We have Cousins, Olave, St. Brown, Bijan, Swift, Andrews, Puka. Bench is Fields, Kyron Williams, Pacheco, Jonathan Taylor, Christian Watson. Would you trade for A.J. Brown, a 2-for-1 deal, or sit tight? The issue is sending a deal for A.J. Brown was what you wanted to do 2 weeks ago. Now, I mean, if we were to make that trade, you're going to have to send like a Monroe St. Brown and Chris Olave to pull it off. I would say if this is a 6-point passing touchdown format, we're probably going to go ahead and sit tight. However, if this is a 4-point passing touchdown league, I would love to see if we could go through and send either Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins in a package with one of these depth players like Kyron Williams, who's obviously great in his own right, but for a top 3 quarterback, for someone in the Mahomes, Allen, or Jalen Hurts range, just because this is that 10-team league with 1 flex where quarterbacks are going to make up a higher percentage of that output. Now, Brett says, love the videos. Watch them all. Thank you, my man. Need 6 points to win tonight. Full BBR. Who do you have as the safest? Wandale, Charbonnet, or Darius Slayton? Let's look at the underdog pick'ems for this and just get a sense of these, because underdog pick'ems, I would say, is pretty safe to be looking at. Darius Slayton right now, if you look at where they have him currently at 40.5 total yards. Whereas if you're going to be looking at Wandale Robinson, Wandale is only at 19.5. And then Zach Charbonnet maybe is a little bit, I know, he's at 22.5 rushing yards. I would say if it's a full PPR format, probably Darius Slayton. If it was a non-PPR league, we'd maybe go with, Zach Charbonnet. I don't know if we said Rashad White. But Jonathan says traded Nico for Aaron Jones. We need some running back help. I think it's a fine deal. Obviously, Nico Collins looks great, though. Now, Sigmo says, should I make this trade? Amari, Kamara, Rashad White for Swift, Chase, and Connor. Amari to Chase, massive upgrade. Alvin Kamara to DeAndre Swift, give me probably Swift. Rashad White for James Conner, probably give me Rashad White, but they're in the same tier. 100% go get Jamar Chase. If this is Chase's price, I will be buying Jamar Chase. Now, Jimmy says 2-2, 16 league. Full BBR format. We have Lamar, Lawrence, Bijan, Ramondre, Jefferson, Amari, Ayuk, Hawkinson, Kamara, James Cook. And then on the bench, we have Judy, JSN, Ford, London, Flowers. Any trades? We need a wide receiver too. If you were going to make a wide receiver two, I know you don't. You're a great spot, my man. 6-team league. Depth doesn't matter at all. This would be one of those formats where I'd say if we can do literally anything we can to send Ayuk and Trevor Lawrence and go get a top 6 quarterback, let's do it. In a 6-team league, you're going to be able to solve the wide receiver position off the waiver wire. You are completely fine. The last thing I want to be doing is trading for a wide receiver 2 in a 6-team format, my friend. But real quick, we're actually going to have to refresh this to continue to bring these up. And as I do this, let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button. It looks like less than 10% of y'all have dropped a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We have live streamed every single day since April and not going to stop until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers and a Geno Smith special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard in the game tonight against the Giants. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But our next question coming out from Big Route, who says, hey, Mason, I'm 1-3 after this week. Should I trade Nico Collins for Devon Achane? We have Amari, Kirk, Jefferson, and Flowers. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have in this instance? Obviously, these are players that have wildly changed their trade value as of late. I mean, the market still is not close to being solved on these guys. I personally don't know. I mean, I kind of typically go with the running back rookie breakout. Seems a little bit more noticeable for me, but We got Devon, Nico. Devon, Nico. Nico, Devon. Devon, Nico. Devon, Nico. Devon, Nico. Devon. It looks like it is split damn near 50-50, my man. I really have no idea. I think it's up to you. I have no idea. I'm sorry. CJ coming out says 2-2 PBR. We have Cousins, Richardson, Jacobs, Mostert, Montgomery, Hill, Amari, Higgins, Cup with Laporta. Any moves? I don't know what to do with T. Higgins. Higgins, you have to hold. I mean, nobody's going to trade for him, my man. I think it's a very strong team. The only thing I'd say is if you wanted to send like Kirk Cousins and Amari Cooper to go get a stud wide receiver, if we can, if we can go to like the Joe Burrow team that really needs some help at QB, then let's send it. If not, you're chilling. You're going to be fine. P. Dilla says, I think I made a mistake trading Puka, Kyron, and Devon for Jefferson and Jordan Love. The team is Burrow, Chase, Diggs, Stevenson, Pacheco, Laporta, Walker, and depth running backs. Feel free to clown on me. I am never going to clown on anybody for trading for Justin Jefferson. If it is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I still probably prefer Jefferson. But if it's one of those leagues where you have 2 to 3 flex, I mean, it's like 3 wide receivers and 2 to 3 flexes, then at that point, you probably give up too much with the package. But Nick says, hey, Flock, 12-team full BBR format single flex. We're currently 4-0. We have Tua, Pollard, Henry, Wilson, Ridley, Ferguson, Flowers, Moore. What long-term moves should we look to make? Typically, we want to be selling guys that maybe are going to see their production scale back as the season goes forward. So if you wanted to go through and see if we could sell maybe like, I don't know, Derrick Henry, obviously older running back. Derrick Henry, maybe we don't know exactly what we have long-term. Coming off a very strong week. And if you want to pivot to a younger running back that maybe is on the ascension, that is something we could do. I mean, if you wanted to go like Derrick Henry for Jonathan Taylor on a 4-0 roster, I'm not going to fault you for it. Stealthy says trade Devon Achane and Christian Watson for Olave or Lamb. I would do this deal for Lamb. I would do it for Lamb. Now, it's Dreyway coming out, says 1-3, 12-team PBR format, 6-point touchdown. We have Allen, Sanders, White, Ford, Akers, Herbert, Warren. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Evans, Higgins, Wilson, Myers. Tight end, we have Hawkinson, looking to upgrade at running back. I mean, I completely understand why we want to be upgrading at running back here. Now, the question is, what can we get? If you could send maybe like Jacoby Myers, and we had Jerome Ford as a sell-high player last week. If you could send Jerome Ford and Jacoby Myers to go get a better running back too, then that would be interesting. The issue is you're not getting anything for Higgins. You're not getting anything for Evans after the hamstring strain. You're not getting anything for Wilson. It's too late to sell him. And obviously we want to keep Allen and Hawkinson in this format. Now, Jack coming out says 10-team keeper PBR. We have Goff, Stroud, Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Robinson, Akers, Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, Puka, Judy, Pickens, Michael Wilson, Frymuth, and David Njoku. Any moves? Okay. Quarterback would be nice to upgrade. I mean, can we afford it? Possibly. We can possibly afford a tight end upgrade. I don't think we need to do anything. I would say if we could put out some feelers and see if we could send like Pickens and Frymuth or Pickens and Njoku and get a tight end that we're really excited about. Or maybe like Judy and Goff, Judy and Stroud, and go get a quarterback we're really excited about. Maybe we go ahead and look to pull the trigger there. But in reality, I think it's a well-balanced format. We don't really have to do much. Noah says 1-3 due to bad management. We have Lamar, JT, Devon Achane, Montgomery, Ford, Javonte, Warren, Chase, St. Brown, Olave, Puka, Goddard, Kincaid. Guys selling Saquon and Waddle for Montgomery and Puka, or Montgomery, Olave, and Ford. I would sell Montgomery and Puka for Saquon and Waddle if it is a full PBR format, and I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't like doing it on a 1-3. Actually, no. Barkley will be back next week. Let's send it. No hesitation at all. Yes, sell Saquon, Barkley, and Waddle for... sell Montgomery and Puka for Saquon and Waddle. E-Money coming out saying, 14-team PBR single flex. We're 3-1. We have Lawrence, CMC, Stevenson, Higgins, Pittman, Ingram, Judy. On the bench, we have Dotson, Warren, Chark, Stroud, Spears. Team's a mess, and we need some help. A 14-team format, depth's going to be a little bit harder to come by. Still think we possibly go through and let go of some of these depth wide receivers, such as like DJ Chark, go pick up someone off the waiver wire. I agree the team's in a very tough spot right now, even though we are 3-1, just based off the fall off of Higgins and Stevenson. I don't know. There's no clear trade that we can make on this team, my man. I hate to say it. I think that this is one of those teams that we kind of just have to be working the waiver wire. And then I think at this point, we can say, yeah, start Stroud over Lawrence. Now, our next one's coming out from Echo says, 12-team at PBR format, 3-1. One flex. We have Mahomes, Bijan, Roshan, Elijah Mitchell, McKinnon, Warren, Debo, Devonta Smith, Puka, Downs, Deontay, Downs again. We love Downs. Musgrave and Frymuth. Need a better running back too. Who do we sell? If you wanted to make this play, this is the only guy you can sell. Nobody's paying you for Deebo Samuel. Devonta Smith is Devonta Smith. We don't want to sell him. If you were going to make a trade, you sell Puka for a borderline top 5 running back. But I am done telling people to sell Puka. So I really don't want to say it. But that would be the trade if you really needed to make one. Diego says, Ola today, base. Ola, my friend. Start Geno or Daniel Jones. 4-point passing touchdown format. I'm going to be going with Daniel Jones for rushing upside. Actually, let's see what we have with the underdog pick'ems right now. What do they have? They have Geno Smith at about 17.75 fantasy points. And they have Daniel Jones at 16.95. If it is a 6-point passing touchdown format, I think we go Geno. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I think we go Jones. Vaughn says 3-1, 12-team BBR double flex, where we have Allen, CMC, Henry, Eckler, JT, Lockett, Higgins, Deontay, Ertz, and Joku. Should we make any trades? I don't think so. 3-1, and now we're going to be getting back Jonathan Taylor. We have Eckler coming back in the long term. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice if we could go through and sell like Derrick Henry for an elite level receiver. But, I mean, we're not going to be doing that until we get confirmation that Eckler and JT are coming back in. Llama Drama says 12-team PBR 3-1. We have Love, Eckler, Swift, Amon-Ra, Adams, Kincaid, DK, Watson, Palmer, Rashad White, Javonte, Khalil Herbert, Spears. What do you think in any trades that we should aim for? I think it's a strong team. 3-1 roster. It's strong for a reason. We're going to be waiting until we get Eckler back in. We can start Khalil Herbert this week out of desperation. Yeah, long term, when we have all our running backs back in, then maybe at that point we can afford to go out there and upgrade quarterback or tight end. Really want to make sure that Eckler is coming back after the bye, though. Spag says, if you have not hit that like and subscribe, fix your life. Fix your life, yes. If you not hit that like button and subscribe, make sure you go down there and fix your life. Ryan coming out says 2-2, 12-team at BBR format, where we have Hurts, Jamar, Ayuk, Kyron, Spears, Goddard. We have Tank, Pittman, McKinnon, Quentin Johnson, Roshan, and Jamal Williams on the IR. Need a running back badly. What are we looking to do? I mean, really the only option is you take one of these wide receivers and you go get an upgrade at RB. If you wanted to send Ayuk and go send Ayuk and Spears and see if we can get to the ETN range, see if we can get to the Kenneth Walker range, let's do it. We would also be willing to send Pittman, but I think Pittman, you're going to be looking at a lesser tier running back. I think you'd be looking at like James Cook or Rashad White if we could do that. Drew says 3-1, 12-team format with only one flex. We have Hurts, Gibbs, Montgomery, Tyreek, Puka, Hawkinson, Achane with Amari and Moss on the bench. Feeling good. Do we have any moves? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, if JT is not back with the Colts this week, you have Moss to still start in the short term. You have Gibbs for the long term. It's a team where we probably need to go ahead and look more so long term because we are 3-1, especially with the upside with only having one flex. Great team. I think you're in a good spot, my friend. Luck says 10-team full BBR format where we have Fields, Diggs, Puka, Jacob, Saquon, Hawkinson, Olave. On the bench, we have Stroud, Moss, Brian Robinson, Javonte, Hollywood, Myers, Cup on the IR. Want to upgrade quarterback. What's the move? I 100% agree. I think you want to take your quarterback and one of these deeper wide receivers. Maybe take, actually, you're probably not even going to be able to do that, but maybe go like Justin Fields and Zach Moss or Justin Fields and Brian Robinson, these guys on the bench. And if we can get up to a top 3 to 4 quarterback and go up to get to the Patrick Mahomes, get to the Josh Allen, get to the Jalen Hurts range, the Lamar Jackson range, I think that'd make a lot of sense. I know Justin Fields was very good this week, but ultimately he did go up against the worst defense in the NFL. So still not a big Justin Fields guy. And also he's running the ball less than he did last year as well. Now, Noah coming out says 10-team full BBR format. We have Hurts, Barkley, Kamara, Tyreek, Dell, Laporta, Swift. And then on the bench, we have Moss, Kincaid, Lockett, Hopkins, Zay, Addison, Christian Watson, Jonathan Taylor. Any trades? I am 1-3. 1-3. We got to cash in on this long-term upside and get some production in right now. Go through, trade away Zay, trade away Addison, package them with guys in the starting lineup to get upgrades right away. Go send Tank Dell and Zay Flowers, or Tank Dell and Jordan Addison. Get the best wide receiver that we can right now, even if we're sacrificing long-term upside. That way we can at least stay in the mix here, my friend. Now, I'm 6-0 coming out, says 8-team at BBR, single flex. We have Allen, CMC, Kyron, Devontae, Lamb, Pacheco, Waller, Najee, Watson. And we have Terry Addison on the bench. What are your thoughts? Eight-team league, I'd love to have an elite level tight end. I think Waller can maybe be better than he has been. If Waller does flash tonight, I would be looking to see if we can pivot over and buy TJ Hawkinson on the low. I mean, I know all season we were talking about how we would rather have TJ Hawkinson over Darren Waller. So I think that would be an interesting move, my friend. Now, Shea coming out says 12-team full BBR format, single flex. We're 2-2. We have Mahomes, Henry, Pollard, Lamb, Evans, Andrews, Pittman. Should we trade Henry and Lamb for Gibbs and Hill? Henry, I think we already answered this. It is very much up to you. I probably personally do it in a full PBR format. Obviously, we are getting that downgrade at running back, but that upgrade at wide receiver. I do think we potentially see the bridge of the gap between Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs get closer as the season goes on in a full PPR format, though. If we were 0-4, I definitely would not do this, but here I think we can. Now, Alex says 12-team BBR format, trade Henry for Christian Kirk and ETN. Full BBR league, I actually probably do this, especially if we can then turn around and sell Kirk for a little bit more. Bob says 10-team BBR format, 1-3. We have Kirk, Dak, CMC. Actually, let me go back to this. If you're a believer in the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, you can do this. If you believe in the Jags, you can trade Henry for Kirk and ETN. If you don't, then you have no business doing so. But Kirk, Dak, CMC, James Cook, Brees, Devon, Roshan, St. Brown, Waddle, Judy, Watson, Garrett Wilson, and Kittle. What moves should we be looking at? I mean, I don't necessarily see anything that jumps out. I mean, we have top in production and running back, wide receiver. We have long-term upside as well. We have an okay quarterback room. We have an okay tight end room. I think it's a solid team. I think you're fine. Nick says, Sup Mason, can you tell me how to dropping Burrow for CJ Stroud? So it's going to depend, right? If CJ Stroud is your quarterback 2 on your team, I would probably rather have Burrow with the long-term upside. However, if we are talking about what we have for the short term, if you need a quarterback to start right now, then yes, I'll drop Burrow for Stroud. But almost in either case, I don't want to drop Burrow. I'd rather drop like a depth wide receiver on our bench for CJ Stroud. Start Stroud in the short term and have Burrow for the long-term upside. Even though obviously, I mean, it does not look great for Burrow at the moment. Chase says, should we do Jefferson Mixon for Aaron Jones, Diggs, and Joshua Palmer? Mixon to Aaron Jones and Palmer, who the hell cares? Jefferson versus Diggs, Jefferson by a mile. Full BBR, we have Pollard, Ayuk, McLaurin, Watson, and Myers. I'm going to go with the best player. I'm going to keep Justin Jefferson. I mean, I think you'd probably rather have Aaron Jones over Joe Mixon. Palmer's not going to move the needle here. So yeah, go Jefferson. B. Johnson says 10-team full BBR format 3-1. We have Cousins, Jefferson, St. Brown, Montgomery, Mixon, Frymuth, James Cook. Sanders, Hopkins on the bench. What moves can we look to make? Be really nice if we could get a tight end that we can feel comfortable about. Like if we could send DeAndre Hopkins and Pat Frymuth and go get to the Darren Waller, go get to the TJ Hawkinson range. I think that'd make a lot of sense, my friend. But outside of that, great team. Very well-balanced roster as well. Now, Gassan says, which quarterback to drop? Richardson, Watson, or Russ? Russ, easily. Drop Russ there. TRD says, got offered Cub for Puka. Should I take it? I refuse to answer Puka questions because I don't know. So I will ask the live chat. Everybody go to the live chat and please spam what you would rather have. Would you rather have Puka or Cooper Kupp? Puka or Cooper Kupp, ladies and gentlemen, please let me know. And also, we are about 150 likes away from 2,000. So if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We've live streamed every single day since April. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for the games tonight, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And ladies and gentlemen, a Geno Smith special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard going up against the Giants tonight. So please make sure you take advantage. But we have Kupp. Puka, Kupp, 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 Puka. So it does look like most people want Cooper Kupp. It's not too far off. I would rather have Cooper Kupp, and I don't think for me, it's not that close. But I do want to reiterate that I'm an idiot, and you probably shouldn't listen to me with Puka. The Dark Knight says trade Richardson and Gibbs for Jonathan Taylor, where we have Jalen Hurts and Love. If we have Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, if it is a one quarterback format, yes, we do this. Roast Beef says my team has 30 total. My team had 30 total points until CMC Ayuk and the Dallas defense saved my week. Hell yes. Hawkinson, Ramadre, Amari, Waddle, and Mostert with a dud. Yeah, that's incredible, my man. That's incredible. Aaron says 2-2, 12-team PBR format. Start with 5 wide receivers. We have Etienne, Bijan, Hall, Hunt, Ridley, Wilson, Amari, Addison, Myers, Mims, Bourne, Reynolds, Logan Thomas. Should we trade Bijan for a wide receiver 1 and a running back 2? So right now we are starting Bijan, Travis Etienne at running back. Receiver, we're going to go Ridley, Wilson, Amari, Addison, Myers, and the flex. Specifically in this format, yes, I would do this. If you could get, another round 1 player, like go from Bijan Robinson. I don't want to say Austin Eckler. We'll have to go a little bit lower than that. But say go from Bijan Robinson to like Saquon Barkley and then pick up Devonta Smith. In a format like this, you probably have to go ahead and make that move. Okay. Now, Randall says, Howell or Burrow this week in Superflex? I'm not going to answer that until we can see the Vegas spreads on those games. I want to see what the implied team totals are. I want to see what Las Vegas is telling us and what they're predicting about the Burrow injury. And also, we need to wait for the Higgins news. Now, Dirty Dan says, I'm 1-3 in a full BBR format where we have Hurts, Jacobs, Etienne, Chase, Amari, Ingram, Gabe Davis. On the bench, we have Watson, Edwards, Ford, Pierce, Judy, London. What are we looking to do? It'd be really nice if we can upgrade over the flex spot. I mean, it looks like in terms of making trades, it's going to be, easier said than done. I think we probably just sit on our hands and consistently turn the bottom end of this bench and see if we can find a long-term viable flex player outside of Gabe Davis. At the very top of the roster, it's pretty solid. Now, Michael says, a full BBR, we have Herbert, Saquon, Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown, Hopkins, Kirk, Henry. On the bench, we have Montgomery, Hunt, Palmer, Higbee, Breida, Quentin Johnston. Any trade advice, big fan. Really appreciate you, my friend. Having David Montgomery down there on the bench does show like the level of depth that this team has. If we could maybe send, say, David Montgomery and DeAndre Hopkins and get a stud wide receiver in a full PBR format that we have no hesitation on in the long term, someone like CeeDee Lamb, I think that'd make a lot of sense. And honestly, it's a move that we could possibly make just knowing, how many people need running back right now. Now, Matt says, sup, 4-0 in a 12-team full BBR format, but we lost Chubb. Team is Herbert, Etienne, Swift, Adams, Allen, Puka, Hawkinson. On the bench, we have Dylan, Flowers, Zeke, Burks, and Kareem Hunt. Worried about running back? Any ideas? I think you're almost already doing it. You have Etienne and Swift. We already hit on running back. I agree. Running back depth may be a little bit questionable. If it's going to be that 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I would say that these depth wide receivers down there in the bottom end of our bench probably not going to make a big difference like Treylon Burks. And in this kind of format, I probably would like to let go of Treylon Burks and then pick up another running back off the waiver wire. Okay. Now, Matthew says, a full BBR 10-team league. Running backs are Kamara, Aaron Jones, Montgomery, Kyron Williams, Sanders. Do I trade Williams for Hawkinson and Najee? My tight end is Kittle. What do we do? It's a very fair deal. I think it's a very fair deal. If you wanted to, you can. The issue is if you already have Kittle. If you think you can then flip Kittle for something that you like even more, let's do it. If you think so. Bodie says 3-1, 8-team, 2-quarterback format where we have Hurts, Goff, ETN, Moss, Waddle, Ridley, Kelsey, Kyron, Saquon, Amari, Hall, JSN, Robinson, Ford, Devon, Achane, and Jonathan Taylor. Any trades or advice? Now that we're getting Jonathan Taylor back in an 8-team, 2-quarterback format, I would love to see if we can upgrade that second quarterback slot from Jared Goff, where if you could send, say, like Kyron Williams and Jared Goff and go get a top 3 to 4 quarterback, go get someone like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson. And an 8-team super flex league, I think we would do that. Alex says down 0.8. Do we go JSN or Wandale for the dub? We're going to go Jackson Smith and Jigba, my friend. And good luck. Good luck. Hopefully it's a PBR league. Gavin says a full PBR 10-team league. We have Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, Mixon, Tyreek, Amari, Ertz, and then the flex Ford, bench, Madison, Thomas, Njoku, Dobbs off the waiver wire. Any more ideas? We are 3-1. I don't necessarily think anything. I mean, if you could get some great price for Alexander Madison, we could pivot off of Alexander Madison and package him with Zach Ertz to go get an upgrade at tight end. That'd be very interesting. Obviously, it's going to be much easier said than done, though. Realistically speaking, we probably aren't going to be able to make that move. Now, it's Big Pops coming out. It says 10-team PBR format, 2-2. We have Fields, ETN, Gibbs, A.J. Brown, Chase, Lamb, Andrews. Oh, my gosh, nasty team. Brown, Chase, and Lamb. Stevenson, Pacheco, Godwin, Moore, Dotson, Downs. Any trade I should do. Don't necessarily think that there are any trades sitting out here unless if we could send a bottom end piece like, say, DJ Moore and Justin Fields. Whenever we have Lamb, Chase, and A.J. Brown at the very top. Send Justin Fields and DJ Moore to go get a top 3 quarterback. Those guys that we were talking about previously. And then outside of that as well, when you have these elite level wide receivers at the very top, I would drop someone like Josh Downs, pick up another running back to try to hit on the next Kyron Williams. Tony says, Happy BBR, I'm 2-2. We have CMC, Mixon, Najee, JT, Puka, Hopkins, Kirk, Gabe Davis. Do I accept Eckler and Kupp for Christian McCaffrey? Maybe next week, not right now. I know it's crazy. Obviously, all these guys at one point were top 5 picks in fantasy football drafts. Eckler is so far removed himself from the rest of the field. I'm sorry, CMC is so far removed himself from the rest of the field. Until we get some type of clarity with Cooper Kupp or Austin Eckler, I don't know if we want to be trading away CMC for it. I don't know. It's tough, my friend. It is tough. Like CMC is by far and away the most valuable player in fantasy right now. Now, East Nabby says 10-team PBR. We have Hurts, Richardson, Pollard, Kyron, Devon, Achane, Ramondre Brees, Jefferson, Lockett, Godwin, Hopkins, Hollywood, Kincaid. Send Jalen Hurts and a running back or for a wide receiver. I'd say no. No. If you want to go Anthony Richardson, then yes. If you can send like Anthony Richardson and Devon, Achane, or Ramondre Stevenson and go get back a top 5 running back, let's do it. I mean, Jalen Hurts, it's just, he has like a similar ceiling, but just, he has a higher ceiling, but just a way higher floor too. Nate the Great says JT and Godwin for Mixon and Lamb. I would rather have Lamb here if it's a full PBR league. Chris says Dynasty at PBR trade Ford in a second for Hall. Go get Hall in a heartbeat in a Dynasty league, my friend. Drew says 2-2, 12-team at PBR format. 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Watson, Adams, Pittman, Puka, Walker, Kamara, Kelsey, Dell. On the bench, we have Judy, Brees, Myers, Roshan, Dowdle, Mitchell, Cooper Kupp. Should we trade for a better QB? Now that we are getting cut back in, yes. I mean, I don't think we need a great quarterback, but if you could go through and send, like, say, Brees Hall and Jerry Jeudy, or say, like, Brees Hall, Deshaun Watson, and go get Justin Herbert, let's do it. Now, Zach says 2-2 in a 12-team PBR double flex league where we have Tua, Walker, Mixon, Lamb, AJ, Pitts, Ertz. We have Cup, Myers, Ford, Charbonnet, Akers, Johnston. Any moves? I mean, I'll stand by the fact that I think Jerome Ford's potentially a sell-high candidate. Like, if you really wanted to go through and sell Ford and one of these tight ends, go get an upgraded tight end, we can do it, but it's just so much harder to assume that we're going to get something now for Jerome Ford compared to last week. Now, Iron Will says 2-2, 10-team PBR. Please fix the team. We have Cousins, Herbert, A.J. Brown, Metcalf, Tank, Myers, Tutu, ETN, David Montgomery, Swift, Brees, Hawkinson, and Charbonnet. It's a 2-quarterback, single flex format. 2 QB league, great spot, my man. I mean, it would be nice to possibly have a QB3 that we're excited about, but still, elite tight end, great receivers. I mean, great running backs. We have Cousins and Herbert. If I'm going to be honest with you, I mean, I think we keep this team as is. Phenomenal team. And a 2 QB format, that is. Now, BB says, what wide receiver should we go in package with? We have Hurts, CMC, JT, Sanders, Connors, Puka, Waddle, Watson, Laporta, Hopkins, Lennon, Palmer. The guy that I'm going to be looking to sell, if you're looking to sell a wide receiver here, will be DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to be looking to hold on to Jalen Waddle, but if you can go like DeAndre Hopkins and Drake London to go get an upgrade at wide receiver, to go get to like the Chris Olave range, I would really like to do that. I mean, the Hopkins playing time is coming down dramatically. Trev says 12-team full BBR format. We have Hurts, Pollard, A.J. Brown, Kupp, Ayuk, Pittman, Andrews. On the bench, we have P. Ryan, London, Burks, Elijah Moore. Need a new running back too. Who can we go and get? I hate to give you this answer, my man. I understand that we need a new running back too, but you're going to be doing this through the waiver wire. Drop Traylon Burks. Go churn the waivers. Try to find a running back that way. We don't have the trade value to make an easy trade at RB2. We're just going to have to try to find the next Kyron Williams. Even just go week to week. Now, Vincino says 1-3, 8-team PBR format where we have Lawrence, Bijan, Madison, Olave, Debo, Andrews, Wilson, Pittman, DJ Moore, Addison, Flowers, Brian Robinson, London, banked on Garrett Wilson and Gibbs. Big trades. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, my friend. 8-team format. I mean, we need to sell future value for short-term production. So go through and sell these rookie wide receivers down to the bottom of the bench. Let's sell Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. We're 1-3 here. Go send Jordan Addison and Trevor Lawrence. Go get a quarterback we can be excited about right now. Go send Zay Flowers and Garrett Wilson. Go get a flex that we can be excited about right now. Be willing to sell these long-term assets for short-term production on a 1-3 roster. Now, Double M coming out says 6-team full BBR, 0-3. We have Lamar, Bijan, Jacobs, St. Brown, Smith, Walker, Kamara. On the bench, we have Barkley, Thielen, Jamal, Kyron, Taylor, Ridley, Thomas, and Watts. Phenomenal team. Clearly, I mean, there's a reason we're 0-3. We had Jonathan Taylor injured. We had Saquon Barkley injured. We had Alvin Kamara on the IR. I mean, honestly, this is going to be a better team going forward. The issue is, I mean, obviously, we took all these guys that just had long-term upside, not necessarily anything in the short term. Harsh says, 12-team PBR, can I trade Ridley or Waddle for Kupp? I would trade Ridley for Kupp. Honestly, maybe even Waddle. I'm going to trade DJ Moore for any wide receiver 2 targets I can pursue. Honestly, the wide receiver targets I'd give you would be like Jalen Waddle and Calvin Ridley, so nothing there. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to send those guys and see if you could get Cooper Kupp, or maybe go like DJ Moore and another piece to get Cooper Kupp, I think that could be interesting. Braden says, should trade Cousins, Montgomery, Ramondre, Akers for Fields, Etienne, Sanders, and Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. So Cousins to Fields, 4-point passing touchdown format, lateral move, 6-point passing touchdown format. We're going to take an L. Montgomery to Etienne, give me Etienne, but it's close. Ramondre to Sanders, give me Ramondre, but it's close. Akers to JSN, give me JSN, but it's close. Super fair deal. Honestly, it's up to you. Typically, I stray away from like these 4-for-4 deals, but up to you. Now, Nimbus coming out says 10-team BBR, 3-1. We have CMC, Barkley, Pierce, Ridley, Watson, Thielen, Collins, Kmet, Goff. I traded Herbert, Metcalf, Laporta for Burrow, Chase, and Frymuth. Herbert to Burrow, massive downgrade. Metcalf to Chase, massive upgrade. Laporta for Frymuth, downgrade. We have Kmet as well at tight ends. If we can find another quarterback that we like off the waiver wire, I'm fine with it for the long term, that is. Short term is going to be tough. Now, Louis says 2 running backs and a flex. Saquon, Gibbs, James Cook, Taylor, Flowers, Ridley. Our 2 running backs would be Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor if he plays. If he doesn't, We're going to go Saquon and James Cook. And then our flex will be the other running back if JT does play. And then if not, we will go Calvin Ridley over Flowers and Gibbs. Now, Jesus says, 10-team full BBRs, Puka, Adams, Sanders, and Dell for Kelsey and Swift, a good trade, or are we giving up too much? Adams to Kelsey, up to you. Puka to Swift, kind of up to you. I don't care about Tank Dell, Miles Sanders, small piece as well. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Puka, Devontae Adams, and Miles Sanders, or Travis Kelsey and DeAndre Swift? I would assume, honestly, you're probably giving up a little bit too much here, my man. Probably giving up a little bit too much. Yeah, now we have people in the chat saying Puka. Yeah. Now, our next question coming out from Dilly Daggers, who says, 2-2 full BBR 20-team league where we have Richardson, JT, Mixon, Lamb, Chase, Hawkinson. Oh my gosh. A 20-team league with this roster where we did lose Nick Chubb, Mixon for Henry. I'd go Henry. Kamara for Pittman. You are 2-2 on a team that had Jonathan Taylor and Alvin Kamara in a 20-team format. That is incredible, my friend. You are going to be much better going forward. You have a phenomenal team in a 20-team league. Don't go through and overthink this. You're going to be just fine. Matt says, have BBR double flex. Trade Montgomery and a piece for Jalen Waddle. Probably not. We have Pollard, Bijan, Ridley, Amari, Ayuk, Lockett, Ford, Watson, Davis. I mean, I think Montgomery and Waddle is probably in a similar range right now in terms of the rest of season value. I probably would prefer Waddle, but I mean, it's hard to say that they're that far apart. I don't know if you need to be adding to Montgomery to get to Waddle. Robert says, Sub Mason, 0-3, about to be 0-4. Need a miracle. It's a 14-team league with one flex. We have Richardson, Jones at quarterback, Mixon, Robinson, Chase, DK, Andrews, Dell, Sutton, Akers, Gus, Roschon, Spears, Deontay. Any trades? Thinking about trading Chase and Mixon. A little too late to trade Chase and Mixon. I don't know if you're going to be getting anything. And I know this trade that we would recommend, you're probably not going to be getting much either. But Deontay Johnson has long-term upside. Tank Dell has long-term upside. But in terms of what we have in this short term, I mean, you probably don't have much, right? In the short term, Tank Dell is not startable. Deontay Johnson's not playing. So if we can sell, say, Deontay Johnson and Tank Dell and just go get a player like Chris Godwin, someone that we can be excited about for the flex spot, I think that would make sense. I don't think it's too late to sell the Cincinnati guys, though. Stevan says, I'm 2-2 in a 12-team standard league. Need an upgrade at running back. We have Tua, Montgomery, Stevenson, Amon-Ra, Diggs, etc. Waller, Atwell. Bench, we have Najee, Watson, London, Kirk, Roschon, and Cortland Sutton. I think the move that we're going to look to make is trying to sell Christian Kirk and Ramondre Stevenson to go get an upgrade out running back that way. I mean, the thing with Christian Kirk is, yeah, he's been great over the past few weeks, but that's also under the context that you had no Zay Jones here. You're not going to get anything for Najee Harris. You're not getting anything for Watson right now. You're not getting anything for London. You're not getting anything for Roche. I'm not getting anything for Sutton. I really think the only thing that you can do is send Christian Kirk and Stevenson for a running back upgrade. Now, LeBronosaurus Rex always out here says, got offered Ridley, Jacobs for Lamb and Mostert. Ooh, probably Jacobs versus Lamb. Give me Lamb. Ridley versus Mostert. Probably give me Ridley. Can everybody spam the chat for LeBronosaurus Rex? Always out here in the live chat. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Calvin Ridley and Josh Jacobs or CeeDee Lamb and Raheem Mostert? Jacobs and Ridley or Lamb and Mostert? Please let me know. We got Ridley, Lamb, Ridley, Lamb, Ridley, Lamb, Ridley, Lamb, Ridley, Lamb. It does look like most people are going Calvin Ridley here, my friend. Most people are going with the Calvin Ridley side. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Andrew says 3-1. Both me and my opponent, no money players, but I'm scraping by with JT and Cup on the IR. Are they both starts this next week? I would say if we are looking at Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp, if they play, I start them. I don't know if they play, but if they play, I'm not going to overthink it, and they will be in my starting lineup. Okay. But let me refresh this so we can keep on bringing this up. And as we do, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we are less than 100 likes away from hitting 1,000 likes on this stream. So please go down there, hit that like button. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you'll be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for the game tonight. So please make sure you take advantage. But let's swing this back over. Big Breakfast says trade Eckler for Nico and Joe Mixon. Sorry, setting something up. I don't think so. I mean, 1 and 3, I understand why you want to do it, but I mean, you're going to have to deal with the bye weeks from the other players as well, right? So it sucks Eckler's on bye on a 1 and 3 roster. We kind of need him right now, but no, I think you'll just set yourself up with issues in the long run. Now, Levi says trade Montgomery for Derrick Henry. I'd probably rather have Henry. Mike says 10-team at BBR format, 16 playoff, 0-4. We have Burrow. Okay, so at least we have a chance, 16 playoff. Burrow, Purdy, Achane, Debo, Jefferson, Kupp, Kyron, Mixon, Laporta, Kirk, Gabe, Khalil Herbert, Deontay Johnson. Any advice on trades? Honestly, no. I mean, if we could get an upgraded quarterback, we do, especially on an 0-4 roster. If you can sell the long-term upside of Burrow and send him, say, with like Deontay Johnson and go get anybody that's startable at quarterback right now, then sure, do it. In reality, you're probably sitting on your hands. Probably not get anything. Now, Krano says full BBR, start 1, Judy, Dell, Laporta, or Downs. We're going to go Judy. That guy says 10-team at BBR format 2 and 2. We have Herbert, Bijan, Gibbs, Olave, Allen, Goddard, Amari. On the bench, we have Sanders, Watson, Dobbs, DJ Moore, and Jordan Addison. Any moves? If we could send DJ Moore, possibly with Dallas Goedert, and go get a stud tight end like TJ Hawkinson, I would like that. I do think that he comes back down to earth with this overall offense. Fabian says 10-team PBR single flex, 1 and 3. We have Hurts, Chase, Puka, Pollard, Mostert, Pitts, Pittman. On the bench, we have Pierce, Devon, Pacheco, Amari, Flowers, Judy. Any advice? Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. I mean, we have so much running back depth. We have Pierce, Devon Achane, and Isaiah Pacheco on this bench. I mean, we can afford to go out there and get a better running back. Like, if we can sell Devon Achane and then go get someone like TJ Hawkinson, let's do it. But I mean, just because we have so much depth, 10-team league, single flex. Tony says, Ramondre, DJ Moore, Pickens for ETN, Christian Kirk in a 10-team at BBR single flex format. Ramondre to ETN, massive upgrade. George Pickens to Christian Kirk upgrade. We're paying DJ Moore to get it done. Yes, let's get out of Ramondre Stevenson. Go make that deal. Chris says, Ridley and Watson for Puka. We have Olave and Lamb. I refuse to answer any Puka questions because I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to ask the live chat. Can everybody spam the chat? Would you rather have Ridley and Watson or Puka? Please let us know. Country Connected 0-4. No idea what we're doing here. Purdy, Henry, Ford, Debo, Sutton, Kittle, Godwin, Herbert, Davis, Zaya. This looks like a tough team at the moment, my man. I don't know what you do. I don't really see any assets people would be excited trading for. We're already streaming quarterback. I am really sorry, my friend. I don't have an answer for you. I think we keep on working the waiver wire, but I mean, we don't have any players that have a tremendous amount of trade value that we don't really need that we could send for anywhere. Like, nobody's giving anything for Gabe Davis, you know? Dominic says 10-team full BBR format, 2 receivers, and a flex. We have Allen, CMC, Javonte, AJ Brown, Keenan, Hawkinson, Gabe Davis. And then on the bench, we have Godwin, Flowers, Laporta, Dobbs, Downs, Zeke, Kelly. Need running back trade ideas. Waivers are bad. Well, if we have Hawkinson and Laporta, it's super easy. Go to the Kyle Pitts team, go to the Dallas Goedert team, and go, hey, man, I'll give you Javonte Williams and Sam Laporta and give me the best running back you can. If we can do that, let's do it, my man. Let's do it. Carson says Amari and Najee for Richardson and DJ Moore. Richardson over Najee, Amari, DJ Moore, give me Amari. Fair deal, up to your roster. Adrian says Devon Achane this week over Joe Mixon. If you're looking at my rankings, I have them relatively close. I have Devon Achane at 14. I have Joe Mixon at 16. So yes. Okay. Now, Go the Gamer says trade away Sanders and Chase for Devon Achane and Amon-Ra. Did I lose? Sanders to Achane, upgrade. Chase to Amon-Ra, downgrade. I probably prefer Chase, but up to you. Stepsis says, would you trade Thielen and Hollywood for Ridley and Myers? Yes, I would for sure do this. Go get Ridley. Great price for Ridley. Juicy says trade away Jefferson for Kyron and Diggs. I understand how it could make sense if we were desperate and we really needed running back depth. Probably something I'm not doing. Cabanova says ideal trade for Stevenson, Dell for Stevenson. I would trade Tank Dell for Ramondre Stevenson in a heartbeat, my friend. Michael says 3-1 in the Yahoo 10-team PBR league. We need a tight end. Who can we target while keeping depth? We have Cousins, Lamb, Gabe Davis, Aaron Jones, Moss, Pitts, Dell, Eckler, Samuel, Lawrence. This team will be a lot better when we get Eckler and JTN. In terms of making trades, we can't really make any trades until we actually have them. I think, honestly, you just kind of have to work the waiver wire for tight end right now, Mike. I'm really sorry to say this. I know it's a crappy answer, but yeah, until we get Eckler and Jonathan Taylor for sure good to go, we're going to have to just work the waiver wire for tight end. I mean, we did include a ton of tight ends in our waiver wire video today. Now, Octavio says 10-team PBR, 1 flex. We have Geno, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, James Cook, Stevenson, Henry, Nico. On the bench, we have Flowers, London, Wilson, Najee, Madison, Anthony Richardson. Any moves that we can look to make? It'd be nice if we could get anything for Najee, right? But that ship has probably sailed. I mean, if we could somehow send like Zay Flowers and Ramondre Stevenson, or Najee Harris and Alexander Madison, or Garrett Wilson and Najee Harris, or Garrett Wilson and Najee. If we could take any of these depth wide receivers and package them with RB2 to go get an upgrade in that slot, that would be advantageous. Just like not too many people are wanting to trade for these running backs at the moment. Anthony says 12-team single flex 3-0. Need 9 points from DK to be 4-0. Hell yes, my man. Lawrence, Mixon, Connor, Chase, Lamb, Ramondre, DK, Henry, Flowers, Davis, Akers. Any trades? No trades right now. Very impressive that we're 4-0 with the down performance that we've had from Lawrence. I think really with this team, you just need to hope that we get a Lawrence bounce back at this point. Now, give more. Always happy to see you, my man. Says, my guy, 10-team full BBR format, 3-1. We have Hurts, CMC, ETN, Jefferson, Pittman, Waddle, Kincaid. On the bench, we have Puka, Pickens, Devon, Madison. Kelsey owner likes ETN. Would you trade straight or package with to get the deal done? I would for damn sure go through and trade away Travis Etienne for Travis Kelce. I would be willing to also go through and package together George Pickens, package together Dalton Kincaid, package together Alexander Madison, package together maybe even Devon Achane whenever we have this kind of running back depth. If we're going to be able to, obviously not all those players together, but we're talking about a 2-for-1 deal. And hell, maybe even a 3-for-1 deal if we're going to include Kincaid because we don't need him when we have Kelce anyway. Or maybe like ETN and Pittman. We can even go in the starting lineup because I think that'd be such a good trade in this format. But Spencer says, current team, Love, Watson, Bijan, Swift, Brees, Amon-Ra, Olave, Kirk, Andrews. I was sent a trade, Kirk, Andrews, for Debo, Pat Frymuth, and London. What are your thoughts? Debo to Andrews, give me Andrews. Pat Frymuth and London to Kirk, up to you. I think I'd probably go ahead and take the Andrews side if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Country says sold Mostert for Jacobs straight up. Like that, my friend. Now we have Allen, Eckler, Jacobs, Moss, Richardson, Devonta Smith, Kittle, DK, Pittman, Dobbs, Thielen, Tutu. Any moves? Much better team than the other team. I'll say maybe this. Actually, we don't do anything. Very well balanced team. I mean, I know that we need a running back in the short term if Jonathan Taylor comes back because Eckler's not viable this week during his bye. Long term, I think Eckler is going to be someone that can come in and we can be excited about. We have the elite QB. If you could take like a depth, if you can somehow swindle yourself, send like Romeo Dobbs or Adam Thielen and George Kittle to go get TJ Hawkinson, we do it. But probably not going to be able to pull it off. Booty Madon says, trade my DJ Moore for Alexander Madison. He has Montgomery, Kyron, Garrett, Brees, JT that I can counter for. If he wants DJ Moore, I would 100% send DJ Moore for David Montgomery or Kyron Williams or Jonathan Taylor. Alexander Madison seems a little bit tougher now that you have, I mean, obviously Cam Akers getting some work. But Brandon coming out says 2-2 in an 8-team format. We have Sanders, Ramadre, JT, Alvin Kamara, waiver wire running backs. And then we have David Montgomery Brees. Any moves their opponent this week had 69 points from his kicker, defense, and tight end. That is brutal, my man. If you are saying that there is somehow David Montgomery sitting out there on the waiver wire, obviously plan A is to go through and to take 2 of these running backs and go get an upgrade in the starting lineup somewhere. That way we naturally open up a roster spot. Plan B is you cut Miles Sanders, you pick up David Montgomery, and up to you. You don't have to do it, but you maybe even cut Ramondre Stevenson to pick up Brian Robinson. And Nadi says, team is bad, but have Hill. Do we trade him for depth? Super dependent on your format and team, my friend. I don't think Tyreek Hill is a sell. I can't by any means. Now, Real Cole Grant coming out says, 12-team full BBR. I'm trading Pollard, Godwin, Garrett, Montgomery, Hawkinson for Adams, Kyron, Walker, and Laporta. Did I win? Okay, so going from Hawkins, so let's go best piece to other best piece. Pollard to Devontae Adams, slight downgrade. David Montgomery to David Montgomery to Kenneth Walker, upgrade in my mind. Garrett Wilson to Kyron Williams, upgrade. TJ Hawkinson to Sam Laporta, downgrade. I mean, it's a fair deal. It is up to you. I don't know. It's a very fair deal. I personally try to stay away from these deals where we're trading like 4 of our starters for 4 of their starters. So, I mean, really, it can never be like a win-win deal for both parties. I mean, there's going to be a clear-cut loser. There's going to be a clear-cut winner. Lightning Hockey Boy says 18 PBR, double quarterback, double flex. We have Hurts, Burrow, ETN, White, Gibbs, Moss, Stevenson, Hall, Javonte, Jefferson, Lamb, Godwin, Pickens, DJ, Elijah, Hawkinson. I'm 1-3. 2 quarterback format. We have no other option where we're 1-3 to sacrifice the long-term upside of Joe Burrow, package him with one of these depth running backs, and go get someone that's actually going to make a difference in our starting lineup right now. Like, we can't sit here and we can't still talk about, long-term upside of Joe Burrow. No. We need points in the lineup right now. Let's go ahead and let's look to try to make that move. Wounded says, hey, Mace, do I trade Chase and Devon Achane for Tyreek? Love you. Appreciate you, my friend. And honestly, I think we're completely fine doing this if it's going to be that league with 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. If you really wanted to. It is just tough, though, of course. Blake says, have BBR. I'm 1-3. We have Lamar, Kyron, Devon, Diggs, Ridley, Pitts, Puka, Palmer. Any upgrade suggestions? We lost Mike Williams and Nick Chubb. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, we've been killing the waiver wire here. Have Devon Achane and Kyron Williams. I mean, the 2 running backs that are going to be looking like league winners. We have Puka as well. If we had all I would say is let's pick up another tight end off the waiver wire that possibly we're going to have to go through and start over Kyle Pitts at this point. We may have to go through and start someone over Kyle Pitts here, my friend. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are closing in on 1,000 likes on this live stream. We are about 35 likes away. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. You can find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you'll be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard in the game tonight against the New York Giants. So make sure you are taking advantage. But our next question coming out from, I believe, Juan says 19 BBR where we have Fields, CMC, Ford, Adams, Puka, Hawkinson. Judy is the 1 flex. The bench, we have Pierce, Dobbs, London, Palmer, Rashid, and Dobbs were 3-1. I don't want to make any trades. The one thing is we're rostering too many receivers. We need to pick up another running back. We're rostering Adams, Puka, Judy, Dobbs, London, Palmer, Shaheed. I guess we listed Dobbs twice. Maybe not. Whereas at running back, we only have Pierce, Ford, CMC. Can't be rostering 7-8 wide receivers and only 3 running backs, my friend. Cut these guys at the bottom end that are never going to make an impact for you. Cut someone like Rashid and go out there and see if we can get a running back off the waiver wire. Fantasy guy who's happy to see says 12-team PPR 3-1. We have Herbert, Bijan, Montgomery, Dylan, Bigsby, Mitchell, Spears, Olave, Gabe Davis, Hopkins, Dobbs, Dell, Mark, Andrews. What are your thoughts? Thanks, Mace. Appreciate you, my friend. Very well-balanced team. Like the elite quarterback, like the elite tight ends. We don't have enough running back depth, wide receiver depth to make a 2-for-1 deal elsewhere. I mean, we were rostering a ton of running backs, wide receivers that upside down there on the bench. So honestly, my friend, I think you probably sit on your hands. Don't make any moves from here. Zach says, what do you think of Devon rest of season? Should I package him with someone else to get someone like Bijan? If you get to the Bijan tier, you 100% do it. I mean, he's a running back with obviously a lot of upside. He's averaging 11 yards per carry right now. But if Jeff Wilson comes in and turns this into a 3-man running back by committee, it may be a little bit tougher. Now, Mr. Glaucoma coming out says 12-team PBR 3-0. We have Richardson, Allen, Pittman, Henry, Pollard, Musgrave, Flowers. On the bench, we have Love, Cook, Pierce, Davis, Dell, Palmer. What moves should we look to make? So if we have Anthony Richardson and Josh Allen, unless this is a super flex format, we are going to go ahead and, we have Anthony Richardson and Keenan Allen. You can roster 2 quarterbacks here if you really want to. Actually, ignore me there. I mean, I think that the only thing we do is cut Luke Musgrave, pick up another tight end off of waivers. And if you could trade for an upgraded tight end, you will. But honestly, it's probably not possible with this team setup. Pop Swiss, happy to see you. Says, hey, Mason, 1-3.5 PBR dynasty format. Any changes? We have Tua, Fields, Dak, Bijan, Connor, Hall, Dalvin, Kirk, Addison, Myers, Evans, Deontay, JSN, Quentin Johnson, Brandon Cooks. Tight end, we have Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, Jake Ferguson, and Greg Dulcich. I mean, if this is a 1-3 team, I mean, we are about to be on the edge of, okay, do we go through? Do we rebuild? Do we contend? And knowing that JSN has not broken out, Quentin Johnson has not broken out, Jordan Addison doesn't look like he's broken out yet. Mike Evans just had a hamstring strain. Breece Hall lost Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields does not look good. I think this is about the time to strongly consider tearing this down and building for the long term. You don't have to do it just yet, my friend. But the last thing I would ever want this team to do is go trade away any future picks. Is if we fall to 1-4, then at that point, I think we should be putting on a fire sale for all our veterans and seeing if we can go out there and get as many 2024 firsts as possible and hopefully lock ourselves into the 101 and get in Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr., depending on your format. Now, like coming out says, Sup Mason PBR, what can we get for Godwin and Kyron? If you're going Godwin and Kyron Williams, you need an elite level wide receiver return. You need to go to the Devontae Adams range. I mean, Kyron Williams is a 3-down bell cow. Michael says, Breece, Puka, Jacoby for Najee and Ridley. We have Cup. Puka to Ridley, downgrade. Breece and Jacoby for Najee, probably lateral move, downgrade. Not Najee, Ridley. You need more. Curtis says, what comp are you looking to get for Andrews in a plus tight end 1 premium league? If you're going to get a full extra point per reception for Mark Andrews, I do think that he goes up to those like low end wide receiver ones, if we're going to be honest. Now, BB coming out says, big fan, 2-2, 12-team full BBR, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. What should we look to go out and get? We'd like a top receiver. We have Hurts, CMC, JT, Sanders, Connor, Puka, Waddle, Watson, Laporta, Hopkins, London. If you were going to do something here, it would be sending DeAndre Hopkins and like James Conner and going to get a wide receiver upgrade. If you wanted to go try to get or DeAndre Hopkins and Miles Sanders, if you wanted to go try to get to like the Devonta Smith range to pair up with Jalen Hurts, I think that'd be interesting, but we can't make too many 2-for-1 deals here, considering the fact that it's a little bit of a deeper league where you have to start 3 receivers. Now, Taj Wayne coming out says Ford, Montgomery, Lockett for Smith, Montgomery, Hall, also 4-0. Montgomery to Devonta Smith, give me Smith. Lockett to Hollywood, give me Lockett. Ford to Hall, up to you. Very fair deal up to you, my friend. Very fair deal up to you. Robert says, my ball. Okay, that's actually pretty funny, my man. That's pretty funny. Mark says, should I worry about Raheem Mostert? Yeah, I think so. We had him as a sell-high running back last week. I mean, yeah, if Devon A-Chain seeing more snaps than him this week, and at the same time, I mean, possibly Jeff Wilson Jr. coming in. Eric says, quarterback, we have Fields. Running back, we have Jacobs, Roshan, Kareem. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Ridley, Amari, Pittman. McLaurin, tight end, we have Njoku. At BBR 12-team league, 3-1 so far. Any moves? Congrats on being 3-1. The only thing I'd say is if we could go ahead and send like Terry McLaurin and Justin Fields and get up to a top 3 to 4 quarterback rest of season, go get Patrick Mahomes, go get Jalen Hurts, go get Josh Allen, go get Lamar Jackson. I think that make a lot of sense. I do think we have Justin Fields falling back down to earth just a bit I don't think he's going to be as good. Of course, he'll still be good. I just don't know if he's going to be as good. I don't even want to say, of course, he'll be good. I think he's going to come down when he's not playing the Denver Broncos defense, my friend. But Jaden says 12-team full BBR double flex league. We have ETN, Aaron Jones, Wilson, St. Brown, Thomas, Kirk, Akers, Mooney, Gainwell. I'm 2-2. Who should we look to trade for? Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. I think if we're going to go ahead and look to make a play here, actually in a double flex format, I don't think we do anything. Double flex league, and then we sit on our hands, drop Darnell Mooney, go pick up another option off the waiver wire. But 12-team double flex league, the depth here is going to matter a little bit more, where I don't necessarily think we can make a trade in particular. Just drop Darnell Mooney, pick up someone else. Matthew says Watson or Stroud. We're going to go probably Stroud. I hate to say it, Stroud. Puka and Achane for Jacobs and Amari. Puka over Amari, Jacobs over Devon Achane. A very fair deal. Up to you, my friend. Now, Afro Boy says 10-team full BBR got offered Ford and Sanders for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Gibbs definitely has more long-term upside. If you're desperate for production right now, maybe you have to go ahead and make that move. But let me go ahead and see if we can refresh, just get some more questions up. And ladies and gentlemen, we are one like away from hitting 1,000 likes on this stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em for the game tonight, more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that ASAP. Now, our next question coming out from Jared says, hey guys, in a 12-team full BBR format with 2 flex spots, we have Tua, Richardson, Jacobs, ETN, JT, White, Devon, Diggs, Olave, Puka, Godwin, Pickens, Laporta, Devontae Adams for Puka and White, or any ideas. So double flex league, depth's going to matter a little bit more. I still think that Devontae Adams is in a completely different tier than Puka. Rashad White's still a running back that is pretty exciting based off the role that he has. But specifically on a team where we are so loaded, where we have Jacobs, ETN, Jonathan Taylor, and Devon Achane, I think this is a move that we can look to go ahead and make and get Devontae Adams because this is a phenomenal roster. Side note, 1 quarterback league as well. I think you could potentially look to sell one of the quarterbacks now that you have Richardson looking like an elite guy. Now, Brock says, have BBR single flex. We have Lamar, Pollard, Jacobs, JT, Herbert, Warren, Hopkins, Addison, Davis, Deontay, Ferguson. Should we send Jonathan Taylor and Jake Ferguson for Mark Andrews? Way too early to say. I think that we are going to get a much better sense of what this is going to look like for Jonathan Taylor soon. So I'd say probably not right now, my friend. Probably not right now. John says, should I sell Calvin Ridley? What would be a good trade? You can't sell Ridley right now. Nobody's buying. I'm very sorry. Rodney says, traded Moore and Fields for James Cook and Love. If you had another quarterback, I'm okay with it. I assume that we would get a little bit more, though. Silver Baller coming out says, 12-team full BBR format. Brown, Andrews, Tua for Lamb, Hawkinson, Achane. Andrews to Hawkinson, lateral move, same tier. AJ Brown to Lamb, probably downgrade at this point. Tua to Devon Achane. You have Jalen Hurts quarterback now. I think it's a very fair deal and up to your personal preference. The Credit Genius, always happy to see my man, says, you the man. In Dynasty, we traded Fields, Akers, DJ for Lamar Thielen in the future first. Who do you think won the deal? I'd probably rather have the Lamar side. I mean, even though I understand that, yeah, Justin Fields looked better for one half of football this week against the worst defense in the NFL. Fundamentally, I still think that you probably have the Chicago Bears taking another quarterback in this next year's draft. So I like going and getting Lamar. Trey says, 10-team BBR single flex. What do we do with Stevenson now? I mean, we talked about this in the video today, but it sucks. You can't really do anything. You bench him. You kind of sit here and cry. We're not really going to get anything for him, though. Now, Durant coming out says, 10-team full BBR double flex. We have Purdy, Walker, Kyron, Tyreek, Lamb, Ingram, McLaurin, Pierce, and then on the bench, we have Burrow, Herbert, Hunt, Collins, Palmer, JSN, and Deontay on the IR. Are there any moves that we can make? Double flex format, depth's going to matter a little bit more, so these 2-for-1 deals are going to be less advantageous. I would say there's nothing that we're doing now. I mean, once we get Deontay Johnson back in, once we hopefully get a JSN breakout, then at that point, maybe we have the depth where we can go out there and see if we can get an upgrade either at that second flex spot or at tight ends. But I will say, as a quick side note, obviously Nico Collins is someone that we need to start every single week going forward, especially in this format. Now, Ethan says Puka for Montgomery. We have Etienne, Herbert, Warren, Roshan, Akers, Elijah Mitchell, Jefferson, Waddle, Lockett, and Deontay. If it's a non-PPR format, I think you can go for Montgomery. In a full PPR league, I think that you need to go through and you need to hold on to Puka. Full PPR league, you need to hold on to Puka. Now, Shane says, traded Downs in a second for Pacheco and a fourth. The fourth is literally useless. We traded Downs in a second for Isaiah Pacheco. One quarterback format, I like it. The thing is, if you're a win now roster, is Pacheco really making a difference for you? Now, Austin says 10-team, 1 flex at PBR. Trade Tua, Lockett, Keenan, Brian Robinson for Judy and Jefferson. Oh, easily, my man. We have Kamara, Higgins, Richardson. Especially if we have Richardson, we don't really need to. Going and getting Justin Jefferson here is an absolute no-brainer. Go get the best player at the wide receiver position. Mark, longtime member of the flock. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really happy to see you. If y'all don't know, Mark has been with us forever now. Pacheco for my Watson or Garrett Wilson. Very fair deal and up to your roster. I think you can go in either direction. Really gonna be up to you here, my friend. I would not fault you one way or another. I mean, if you are looking at Isaiah Pacheco, it's a running back that has been consistently expanding his role in this offense. Now, Cody coming out says 1-3, 12-team PPR format. We have Lawrence, Pollard, Etienne, James Cook, Diggs, Ayuk, Ingram. And then on the bench, we have Gibbs, Pirine, Pickens, Johnston, Woods, Charbonnet. Any trades or pickups, the waiver wire is weak. Obviously, 1-3, we're looking for short-term production, not long-term upside. I don't really see any trades here. I mean, we don't really have anybody on our bench that people would be super excited to trade for. I would probably go ahead and drop Robert Woods for one of the wide receivers or running backs we talked about in the waiver wire video today. Just because, honestly, if Nico Collins is seeing this kind of volume, I don't see the upside with Robert Woods. But Stefan coming out again. Stefan, please, if you want to be a moderator on this channel, please just type something in the live chat real quick so I can make you a mod. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I just know you're always out here and been with us for years, so thank you so much. Saying Stevenson, Kirk for Jacobs, or reach for Taylor. I would do either deal. If we can send Stevenson and Christian Kirk for Jacobs or Taylor, let's do it. Stevenson looks like buns. Now, Galil coming out says 10-team PBR, 1 flex where we're 1-3. We have Richardson, Mixon, Gibbs, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Ingram, Debo, Puka, London, Lawrence, Addison, Brian Robinson, Ford, JT, Roshan. Any ideas or trades for a running back? Okay. I mean, we had Ford as a sell-high guy last week. The thing is, Gibbs, obviously, it's a long-term play, which typically we're looking to sell in 1-3 rosters. But the issue is nobody's going to really give us anything for Jahmyr Gibbs, so we're kind of stuck holding the bag. If we can still somehow sell Jerome Ford in maybe a package with someone like, I don't know, Evan Ingram for a slightly better tight end, we do it. In reality, I think you're just in a much better spot now that we get Jonathan Taylor back in, or hopefully we get Jonathan Taylor back in. Matt says 1 quarterback, Love, Lawrence, 2 running backs. So we're going to go with, I'm going to have to look at the matchups. 2 running backs, Walker, Gibbs, Kamara, Charbonnet. 3 receivers, Chase, Olave, Puka, London, Watson. Tight end, we have Kittle and Kincaid. I'm 1-3, got offered Kupp for Chase and Godwin for London. 100% trade Drake London for Chris Godwin. Chase versus Cooper Kupp. I understand the frustration with the Burrow injury, but I think that you are honestly going to have Chase productive regardless, even if Burrow is at 90%, even if Burrow is at 60%. So I'm probably going to go ahead. I'm probably going to keep Jamar Chase here. But yes, I would go get Montgomery there. Now, Aaron says 12-team league where we have Purdy, Richardson, Ayuk, Smith, Kamara, Eckler, Walker, Myers, Andrews, Lazard, Tony, Edwards. Any moves? We're currently 2-1. I think we can drop Brock Purdy and pick up another running back that we like off the waiver wire with upside. I think Allen Lazard's and Kadarius Toney are both droppable players. So just drop Purdy, drop Lazard, drop Toney, pick up as many running backs you can off waivers. Try to find the next Kyren Williams. In terms of trades, I think you're in a great spot. I mean, especially once we get Eckler back. And then obviously Richardson looks like an elite QB at this point. Samuel coming out says 14-team 2-2 half PPR format. We have Fields, Pollard, Jacobs, Lamb, Puka, Kyren, Laporta, and then on the bench we have Stroud, Warren, Wilson, Watson, Musgrave. Any moves that we want to look to make? I would like to upgrade over Fields, 14-team league. However, going to be a little bit tougher to do so. We have CJ Stroud, so we're probably just fine holding. Depth's going to matter a little bit more. I don't necessarily think we need Luke Musgrave, but at the same time, I mean, it's a 14-team format, so options on the waiver wire are going to be a little bit worse. I think it's a great team, and I think this is going to be a very strong team going forward. I'm probably just going to hold as is. You've crushed the waiver wire this year. But Vincent is our next question. Let me see if I can find him on this other screen or if we're going to have to refresh here. No, we got him. Just give me 1 second to swing this back around. And as we do, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you will be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard going up against the Giants tonight. But Vincent says 1-3, somehow won with Burrow in my lineup because of CMC. Hell yes. Should we pick up Dobbs, Wilson, Howell for the Burrow replacement? No. Can't believe I'm even saying that. I know you can't do it. At least I wouldn't be mentally tough enough to do it. And will JT play week 5? He's going to practice with the team on Wednesday, which is really nice to see. I don't know if he plays, though. We have on the IR, and Kenneth Walker is on bye in week 5. I don't know right now. It'd be nice if we can pick up another running back off the waiver wire that we could play if we are desperate. But we are going to have to just kind of sit here and wait, my man. Now, Michael says 12-team full BBR format. Trade in Mostert, Collins, Jacobs, Dotson, Ford, Zay. The team is Mahomes, Eckler, Jacobs, Kyren, Roshan, Edwards, Puka, Amari, Myers, Zay, Johnston. Tight end, we have Hawkinson. We are now 4-0. I mean, going from Raheem Mostert to Josh Jacobs is a massive upgrade. Nico Collins to Dotson, Ford, and Zay, probably a downgrade, but still, I mean, going for the long-term upside here on a 4-0 roster. Great team, and I definitely think this is a team that we kind of do need to hit on one of those wide receivers, right? Jared says, I did a chat earlier and had Anthony Richardson on the bench. It's having Hurts, thinking about flipping Richardson for Kittle. Then James Cook for Jahmyr Gibbs, Nico Collins. We had Montgomery and Gibbs, though, full BBR. What are your thoughts? I like the idea of going through and selling Anthony Richardson on a team that has Jalen Hurts or selling Jalen Hurts on a team that has Anthony Richardson. I would assume that we can maybe go for a little bit of a higher tier than what you have with George Kittle. If you wanted to go instead and package like Anthony Richardson and the tight end that we currently have and see if we can get up to either Andrews, see if we can get up to Hawkinson, I would like that. Silver Baller says 12-team BBR 2-2. We have Hurts, Pacheco, Warren, Tyreek, AJ, Andrews, Watson. On the bench, we have Tua, Kincaid, Davis, Chuba Hubbard, Zeke, Elijah, Deontay Penny. Trade or wait for a handcuff. I don't necessarily think that we need to make a trade here. I really do like rostering the running backs with upside down there on the bench if an injury were to occur in front of them. But I will say, I mean, I think that we probably need to just cut Rashad Penny at this point. Even if Swift were to go down, Gainwell's going to be the guy. You need multiple injuries for Penny to be that man. So what I'm probably going to look to do is cut Penny. And if you wanted to send Tua and Christian Watson and go get an upgrade at the flex spot, that would be interesting if we have Jalen Hurts here, of course. Now, Carter says Pacheco and McLaurin for Aaron Jones in a 12-team PPR format. 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Give me Aaron Jones. RM says 10-team at PPR league. We have Lamar, Henry, Devon Achane, Ford, Warren, Spears, Roshan, Debo, Waddle, Olave, Gabe, Pitts, Henry. Guy wants Debo for Andrews. Do we do it in any other moves? I'm 2-1. Should we stay put? I would probably rather have Mark Andrews, especially if we have Pitts where he's not viable right now, and we have the Lamar Jackson stack. So I love that. Let's go ahead and let's make that move for Andrews. And then obviously at that point, we're immediately seeing if we can get literally anything, even if it's a bag of potato chips for Kyle Pitts. Queso says I'm 0-3 in a 10-team PBR format where we have Burrow, Bijan, Pollard, Brian Robinson, Roshan, Chase, Ayuk, Kirk, London, Watson, Judy, Kincaid at tight end. Any moves that we can look to make? Very well-balanced team, running back, wide receiver. Obviously, it'd be nice if we had a better tight end. I would say with Kincaid, this is a player that does have that long-term upside, but once we fall to 0-3, we're not necessarily in a position to be thinking about long-term upside, and instead, we probably need to be thinking about short-term production. So probably move off Kincaid for a tight end that's going to produce for us right now, not give us long-term upside. Now, Syncrosity coming out says 12-team PBR format, 3 receivers and a flex. We have Lawrence, Kupp, Amon-Ra, Kirk, Mooney, Woods, JSN, ETN, Pierce, Ford, Hunt, Edwards, Ryan, Gainwell, Laporta, 2-2, any trades. Great team at the very top, especially once we get Cooper Kupp back in and hopefully have a JSN breakout at some point. I mean, Jerome Ford was the sell-high guy for us last week. Now it's going to be probably much harder to actually get something for him. I'd see what kind of price we could sell Jerome Ford for, but in reality, we're probably going to be sitting on our hands. Double M coming out says 6-team full PBR league tied with Darren Waller versus Met. Any trades? We have Lamar, Bijan, Jacobs, St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Waller, Kamara. And then on the bench, we have Barkley, Thielen, Jamal, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Ridley, Michael Thomas, and Watson. I understand, my man, that we have really struggled up until this point, but that's baseline expectation. You had Alvin Kamara suspended. You had Jonathan Taylor injured. You had Saquon Barkley injured. Like, our entire running back room was hit. Now, at this point, now that we're beginning to get these guys back in, if we could go through and take some of these depth running backs like Kyron Williams and go send with Devonta Smith, get an elite level receiver in a 16 format, we're probably looking to do that. Dolkin says Superflex Dynasty 12-team map point tight end premium. Trade Burrow for CMC and I'd way rather have Joe Burrow I'd have Burrow over CMC easily. The 4th round pick means nothing. I mean, I always use this analogy when we're talking dynasty trades, but if you're trading like, say, in a dynasty Superflex league, Joe Burrow for, say, Christian McCaffrey, you're like going, okay, I'm going to give you my Ferrari. You give me a Lamborghini in return. And y'all are sitting there bickering about it. And then you go, okay, I'll give you that little smelly tree thing that goes on the dash. That has nothing to do with anything. It's not worth anything close to what we're arguing about. You know, so never, like, don't even include, like, the 4th round pick when you think about this. It's just, would I rather have CMC or Burrow in a Superflex Dynasty 12-team league? It's Burrow, not even close. I want to package Geno and McLaurin for some youth. Any ideas? I mean, depends what position we're looking at. If you wanted to go, like, for someone like, if you're punting, if you want to go for, like, Gibbs, you can. Or even you just go for future picks. And when I say future picks, I mean 1st round picks. In coming out says, I hate running backs. 4-0 in the 20-team league where running backs don't matter nearly as much, my man. Love to see it. Love to see it. Almost want to trade ETN to load up more at wide receiver. 2 wide receivers and a flex. From Waddle, Smith, Puka, Deontay. I'm just happy with 6 to 10 PBR backup running back points from Chuba and whoever else. Congrats on being 4-0. I'm super happy for you, my man. I know you've been a long time member of the vlog. 4-0 in a 20-team league is a real accomplishment. We're going to be able to start all 4 of these wide receivers every week. And no trading away ETN, I think, would be a pretty big mistake. I think we're good with these wide receivers. Eric says, St. Brown, Hawkinson, Thielen for Chase, Kittle, and Hall. St. Brown to Chase, give me Chase. Hawkinson to Kittle, give me Hawkinson. Thielen to Hall, give me Hall. Fair deal. Up to you, my friend. Probably the Chase side. Jero says, time to sell Goddard. I drafted a lot of Dallas Goddard this year, and I wish I would have known this back then, but sadly, we learned it too late. Dallas Goddard's probably not going to be good this year. Now, with that being said, do we want to go through and sell Dallas Goddard? Can you get anything for him? Probably not, right? At least in my mind, I'm not thinking we can. Now, Carter says, thoughts on trading for Aaron Jones? Willing to trade Pacheco, Mostert, McLaurin, Judy, Addison. Full PPR format, I like it a little bit more. I mean, non-PPR league, then we're not doing it. But if you could send like Mostert and maybe McLaurin and go get him, sure, let's do it. I mean, he was on a snap count this past week. Now, Steven says, 8-team half PPR league. 2 wide receivers and a flex, 3-1. We have Mahomes, CMC, Kyron, Devon, A-Chain, A.J. Brown, Pittman, Evan Ingram, and then on the bench, we have Purdy, Higgins, Lockett, Thielen, Musgrave, Stevenson. Any trades or ideas? I'd say go ahead and feel free to let go of Luke Musgrave in an 8-team format. I'd send him to the waiver wire. If you meant to say Mahomes is our number 1 quarterback, I'd drop Brock Purdy as well. Just roster as many running backs, wide receivers with upside as possible. And then obviously if we could go and sell like Stevenson and Ingram for an elite tight end like Hawkinson, we'd do it, but probably can't. Mike says trade Hawkinson, Collins, Gabe Davis for Kelsey, Godwin, Hollywood. So Collins versus Godwin. Give me Nico Collins. Not too far off. Gabe Davis versus Hollywood. Who the hell cares? Travis Kelsey versus TJ Hawkinson. Kelsey by a mile. Yes, let's go get Travis Kelsey here, my man. Eric says hold Ridley, Hawkinson, or trade for Chase and Musgrave. Musgrave is nothing. I would honestly rather go ahead and go to the waiver wire. But would I rather have Ridley and Hawkinson or Jamar Chase? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. Obviously, it's very frustrating with what we have regarding the Joe Burrow injury. But at the same time, it's not like Calvin Ridley's been great either. Now, Curtis says 12-team Dynasty League have an offer of 3 to mid-late first and Alexander Madison for Russell Wilson on a rebuilding team. Super weak orphan I got. So the thing is, like, 4th-round picks mean legitimately nothing. In Dynasty, a 4th-round pick is legitimately nothing, my friend. If it is a super flex league, you'd rather have Russell Wilson over Alexander Madison. If it is a 1 quarterback format, you'd probably rather have Madison because you probably could flip him for a little bit more. Okay. But real quick, let me scroll back to the top so we can find where we were. And real quick, as I do this, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for tonight, you can find those on Underdog Fantasy. Links in the live chat, links in the description, link in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you'll be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard going up against the Giants tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you take advantage of that. Got about 15 minutes. Trey says we have Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson need a running back. How is Jalen for Bijan? Oh, get Bijan Robinson there in a heartbeat. Love it, my friend. Dime says started Puka, Devon, and Jalen Hurts and still dropped to 1 and 3. That is brutal, my man. Kelsey, Amari Sanders. Oh, Nico dropped 35 on you. That's where it's at. I'm so damn sorry to hear that, my man. At least we know that we have a ton of points for. So, I mean, if we need a tiebreaker with our record, right? Largan says 12-team happy BR 2-2. We have Lawrence, Mixon, Montgomery, Cup, Olave, Andrews, the flex Ridley. And then on the bench, we have Sanders, Palmer, Boyd, Jameson. Any suggestions? I would love to see if we can somehow get to Lamar Jackson. If we can go something like Sanders and Lawrence to get to Lamar to pair up with Andrews, let's do it. But in reality, you're probably just chilling on your hands, my man. Joel says, I have Adams and CeeDee Lamb. I got offered Devon, Pittman, Devonta Smith for Devontae Adams. I got offered Lockett and Pittman for CeeDee Lamb. Are these worth it? I'd rather have... dear God. I'd definitely way rather have Lamb. The Adams deal is somewhat intriguing. If it is like a 2 wide receiver league with 1 flex, however, I probably just want to keep the best player. Joe says 10-team PBR, 3 receivers. We have Allen, Eckler, Gibbs, Ayuk, Puka, Lamb, Swift. And then on the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Breece Hall, Cooper Kupp, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore. Do we trade Swift and Brian Robinson for Devonta Smith and Devon Achane? I personally would in a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers. I think that Swift and Smith in that format, about the same. Dimes, there's a chance Lockett gets you 28. 2 weeks ago, I think Lockett was in that range. Hopefully, it's a full PBR format. I'm assuming it is, but okay. Now, our next question coming out from Isaiah says, started with Ertz, Deshaun, Kamara, Sanders, Pierce, Waddle, Chase, Amari, Godwin, Moore, Davis, Higbee. Now we have Mahomes, Pollard. Oh my gosh. JT Lamb, how many trades did you make, my man? The team afterwards is significantly better than the team before, but I don't even know how that's possible. Jeremiah coming out of the donation. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Aiden says, any moves I can make, it's a 10-team PBR format where we have Richardson, Stroud, Ford, White, Hall, Stevenson, Taylor. Wide receiver, Chase, Godwin, Puka, Myers. Tight end, we have Ertz and Musgrave. I mean, if we have Richardson that we can start every week, if we can somehow go like CJ Stroud and Jerome Ford to get to a great running back, or CJ Stroud and Ramondre Stevenson to get to a great running back, I think that would be very interesting. Obviously, it's hard to imagine us getting like a ton of value though, but we can try it. We can try it. That would be the move if we made one. Dylan says 3-1 10-team PBR where we have Richardson, Etienne, Sanders, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Higbee, T. In need of a running back too badly, willing to give up one of the receivers or something to trade. Any thoughts/suggestions? If we were going to look to go ahead and sell one of these receivers, you're probably looking to go ahead and sell Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're not going to get enough for Lamb or Higbee. I mean, you're not going to get enough for Lamb or Higgins. Nobody's paying for Higgins right now. So if you wanted to go like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sanders and get back like Austin Eckler on a 3-1 team where we're thinking long term, it could be something you look to do, my friend. Now, Nick says 12-team PBR where we have Hurts, Montgomery, Swift, Flowers, Brees, Hawkins, and Jefferson, Higgins. 1-3, but I'm putting up good numbers. How should I trade to help out? I think if we could send like Brees Hall and say Flowers and go get a wide receiver that we're excited about right now, that would be nice. Even if we were maybe sacrificing a little bit of the long-term upside. I mean, if you're falling to 1-3, right, this is about the point where we need to make sure that we're getting points in the lineup ASAP. Anthony says 12-team PBR format 2-2, where we have Tua, Amon-Ra, Higgins, Madison, Pierce, Kelsey, Judy, Watson, Johnson, Downs, and Spears. So we have the elite tight ends. We have a quarterback we can start every single week. We have running backs, wide receivers down there on the bench with upside. Great team. The only thing is I'd say we probably roster one fewer wide receiver, one more running back. Probably look to go ahead and drop Josh Downs here, my friend. Victor says 10-team PBR, single flex, 3-1. We have Allen, Swift, Etienne, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Collins, Goddard, Montgomery, Zeke, Madison, Najee, Hollywood, Palmer. Team is Kelsey and Andrews. Should we swing for a trade? I would 100% love to do it. I mean, I think we could send Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up for Travis Kelsey if we could pull that off. Or if you wanted to go ahead and if you wanted to make a swing for Mark Andrews, maybe by sending like Nico Collins and Alexander Madison and go get Andrews. I think that would be very interesting. I mean, specifically if that team has Kelsey and Andrews, maybe they are willing to make that move. Jeremiah says 0-4 in a 10-team PBR format where we have Burrow, Chase, Amon-Ra, Flowers, Jacobs, White, JT, or Madre, Henry. What do we do? Obviously, it makes sense. Team's 0-4. We have Burrow and Chase stacked up. I mean, with the Burrow injury. Plus, you had Jonathan Taylor on the IR. I think this team will be better going forward if we were going to look to make a move. However, my friend, I think what we're going to look to do is take the long-term upside of, say, Flowers, package him with another player that we have down there in the bottom of the bench, and see if we could go ahead and get someone that we are a little bit more excited about. If we could, if possible. But BG31, happy to see it. Thank you, my friend. VA says straight away, Ridley or Ayuk for Pacheco. Pacheco definitely is someone that's moving up rankings, but at the same time, I don't know if we can make that deal. I don't know if we can make that deal. I mean, it seems like it's probably a little bit too rich in a full PPR format. Now, Psychosis says, I'm 3-1 in a 10-team league with 2 quarterbacks, super flex, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. We have Lamar, Love, Henry, Jacobs, Ayuk, Thielen, Kirk, Judy, Musgrave, with Stroud, Moss, Najee, and Kupp on the bench. Any moves? Crazy that we had Moss on the bench here, my man. Now that we're going to get Kupp back in, this team should be significantly better going forward. I mean, it would be nice to have a better tight ends. Honestly, I don't necessarily think that there are any trades that make sense with this team. However, I think Luke Musgrave was going to see that step backwards almost regardless, just given the fact that if you are looking at Luke Musgrave, I mean, he did really see the production at the beginning portion of the season with no Watson and with no Aaron Jones. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, we're 2 likes away from hitting 1,100 likes in the stream. Go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, links in the live chat, link is in the description. Promo code FLOCK is going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And you'll be getting a Geno Smith special pick'em more than less than half a total yards. Make sure you're using promo code FLOCK. Now, Shane says, I have an offer to get Jordan Love, Jalen Waddle, Kyron Williams for Jalen Hurts, James Cook, Deebo Samuel. So James Cook to Kyron Williams, slight upgrade. Deebo Samuel to Jalen Waddle, slight upgrade. Jalen Hurts to Jordan Love, massive downgrade. Please keep Jalen Hurts here, my friend. Ghost Live coming out says, 10-team at BBR. We have Fields, Olave, Puka, CMC, Kyron, Logan Thomas, Zach Moss. We have Amari, Stroud, Brian Robinson, Myers, Flowers, Kirk. 3-1 in my league. Tight end, wide receiver, up and down. What are we looking to do? I mean, typically, if we can go through and take some of this wide receiver depth and just go and trade for a better tight end, that kind of solves this issue. We do have a ton of depth with this team overall. If you wanted to send like Christian Kirk and Logan Thomas, just go get a tight end like Kittle that, yeah, it's going to be up and down, but we at least know to start him every single week. And then the other side note is I think that Justin Fields is going to be a sell-high quarterback off the very good matchup against the Denver Broncos. Like if you can go through and take maybe say Justin Fields and a player like, I don't know, maybe Zay Flowers and go get a top 4 quarterback, go get Lamar, go get Allen, go get Hurts, go get Mahomes. I'd love that. Owen says, current quarterbacks Burrow. Should we trade Collins for Richardson? I probably would. I think Anthony Richardson's a borderline top 5 QB rest of season. Rich Productions, happy to see you. My man says, Mason, rate the trade in a 1 quarterback dynasty league. Traded Keenan, Justin Herbert, a future first and third for Olave, Javonte, Algier, Watson, Henry. All in on Richardson. So 1 quarterback dynasty league. Would I rather have Keenan in the first or Olave? Probably Olave. Herbert versus Javonte, Algier, Deshaun Watson. Probably Herbert. Close deal, my man. I do think it's up to you. Obviously, if it was a super flex format, it would be Herbert by a mile. But I think it's a close deal and up to you. But thank you so much for stopping by. Happy to see that you're still with us, my man. And BG31 out against us traded away Montgomery, Gibbs, London for Mostert, Sky, and Deebo or Amari. We get to choose between Deebo and Amari. I'd go Amari over Deebo. Montgomery to Mostert, clear downgrade. Gibbs to Sky, clear downgrade. London to Amari, clear up. I would keep the running backs. I'm going to keep Montgomery and Gibbs here, my friend. Now, Jake coming out saying 3-1, 8-team at BBR format where we have Lawrence, CMC, Montgomery, Adams, Amon-Ra, Hawkinson, Allen, Connor. The bench is Pierce, Ford, Hall, Addison, Hollywood, and Kupp on the IR. Good offer, Gibbs and Jacobs for Montgomery. Should we take it? Yes, I would. If I would rather have Jacobs over Montgomery straight up. I mean, so if we're going to be getting the Gibbs wild card as well, where we're going to get the late season upside, probably a move that we want to be making, especially on a team that's 3-1. Nick says, go Flock. Am I insane for questioning Kelsey for Chase? 4-0. We have Amari, Pittman, Watson, Tank, Godwin with Henry on the bench. I don't know. Everybody spam the chat. In this instance, would you rather have Travis Kelsey or Jamar Chase? Everybody spam the chat. I don't even know at this point with the Joe Burrow injury. Obviously, Travis Kelsey is Travis Kelsey. He does give you that significant edge. I don't think it's like a no-brainer. Yeah, for sure go through and take Jamar Chase. Now, honestly, may rather have Kelsey. The chat's saying Kelsey, 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 Kelsey. Everybody's saying Kelsey here, my man. But real quick, the game is starting, so we're going to end this. I'll be live streaming after the game as well, so make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to get notified. And it's not too late if you want to check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog. You can find that link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. We're going to have in-game pick'ems that are constantly updated. Promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you'll be getting our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Geno Smith special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. Make sure you are taking advantage of that. I'll see y'all after the game. And quick side note, Shane says, I have an offer to go with Lawrence, Love, ETN, Waddle for Hurts. Hurts to the, I'm going to go with the Jalen Hurts side. I don't know. We got to go. About to piss myself. See you in a second.